cream.
Ice cream. Personal.
Very nice.
Yeah.
You guys have everything. You have windows, doors, awnings, railings, gutter helmets. I mean, it's tremendous. You guys do an amazing job. The open house Friday and Saturday, 8 to 5, and then 8 to 4 on Saturday. They'll feed you to the gills. 800-672-4348, aluminumcompany.com.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel neglected or unloved? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Workers' comp can be tricky, but my law firm will be on top of all the complicated paperwork and sneaky deadlines so that all of your I's are dotted and T's are crossed. If you've been hurt on the job, I'm on top of it. Contact us at ritchielaw.com.
WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
You're listening to The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
The future of college basketball, whether you like it or not, all right, with the NIL and with the portal, the best players are going to end up basically in the best conferences playing on the biggest stage. And I think it's great for college basketball. I'm all for good on good. I'm all for the best players and the best teams playing to win a national championship. Cinderella's great in the first and second round, but when it comes to the Sweet 16 moving forward, I want to see good on good.
Hi, everyone. It's the Adam Gold Show. What's going on? I'm Adam Gold. Victoria's here. Welcome to your Wednesday.
I know, it's my Friday. It's hump day,
that's right.
but it's Friday for me.
We're combining a lot of things.
I know.
That's right. You are off tomorrow and Friday.
I know.
So today is Friday, dressed up as a Wednesday.
I know.
You've heard me say this before.
Mm-hmm.
We have occasion to have 4-day weeks. We're not that far away from our next 4-day week because Memorial Day weekend, we wrap around to Monday.
Yeah.
Which actually just triggered something in my brain about that Monday. Dagnabbit. And when we miss a day, the first day back doesn't make a difference what day that is. That's Monday.
Mm-hmm.
First day back is Monday.
Automatically.
So we lose Tuesday.
Mm-hmm.
Tuesday is a day of the week that has no feel at all.
No.
It's just there.
You just glide through it.
Tofu.
Yeah. Water.
So, because Wednesday is when, oh, look, we're now
Halfway.
starting the, yeah, right,
Yeah.
exactly.
On the other side.
This is almost like a comedy routine. So you didn't have a Wednesday this week. Yesterday was your Wednesday.
I know.
Because today is your Friday.
Yeah.
Which means that you have in front of you 3 Saturdays. What's wrong?
Yeah, it's true.
What is wrong?
I just wish those days off could be, for fun things. Like,
that's
it's a
right.
wedding.
That's right. You're
so it's
driving
like,
to Illinois.
I just have to drive, 85 million hours
Who
up
does
to Illinois.
Who does most of the driving?
Michael.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Why
Which,
did you,
I
you
could.
like rolled your eyes
I
like
could. I could do it, but yeah, no. We take his vehicle, so it's, and that's
Gotcha.
fine. That's okay. I'll
All right.
try to nap. Try is the key word.
Oh no, my wife will not sleep if I'm driving. Not a chance.
I know my insides does not want me to at all. That's why I say try.
So when we have done these trips, invariably, I drive most of the time, but she's fidgety. She doesn't like to be a passenger.
Yeah.
She would rather drive. As I just like, then drive. Just I'm happy to just sit.
You could do it.
I am happy to do that. So she gets, and I don't think she likes my driving anyway, and I'm not even going to get into it. But whatever.
Yeah. Well, see, I
Fine.
spend so much time driving. It's fine if I don't.
In the car all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
I spend so much time driving.
All right. So when you guys are leaving tomorrow?
No,
Tonight? Today?
Today, after the show.
Oh.
That's why I
boy.
was up till 1 packing. So, yeah. Super
Well, it's a good thing that
energized.
Michael's driving.
Exactly. That's the whole thing.
All right. Have you figured out whether it's a day or an evening wedding?
It is an evening wedding.
All right, then.
Yes.
But it
so
doesn't
we
matter
figured that
anyway.
out. No, I'm gonna
matter
wear
anyway.
what I wear. Like, you get what you get.
All right. By the time the wedding is Saturday, right?
Yes.
All right. By the time you arrive in Illinois, well, no. I guess you're getting there a couple of days early anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Canes tomorrow night will have, I don't know what they have done.
Which I'll be watching that game during the the rehearsal dinner.
Very
So-
nice.
So I'm gonna be that family member.
Do you have any obligations for this rehearsal dinner?
Be there. That's
That's
what
it.
I'm here for. I'm here for it.
Eat and drink. Eat, drink, and if anybody needs a Canes Capitals update,
Right.
I'm here for you.
You get a card with stuff in it, obviously, but I'm there. Like, I will be watching other things, but I'm there.
I am glad.
Yeah, and this is how prepared I am. I even have a battery pack, like, as a backup in case my phone decides to die, because we got some serious watching on Saturday.
Oh, wow.
I mean, it's a huge UFC card. We've got
I
hockey.
forgot.
We got all kinds of stuff going on.
I forgot all of that.
Oh, yeah.
All right, we got a lot of stuff to do. It is the calm before the. I was going to say storm, but I'm not sure you're allowed to say storm in Augusta. You just got to make sure what you say.
Have to be sensitive.
Actually, real quick, I was listening to a national radio show about the Masters yesterday, and they were interviewing a player, and he kept calling them fans at Augusta. Don't. Patrons.
Yes.
Not fans.
They're fancy.
Patrons. Can't say crowd. Can't say fans. Patrons.
Mm-hmm. Makes me feel like I'm lifeguarding again. That's what we had to call our people.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right. Shall we? We shall. All right, it is the 11th hour, and I am not at all concerned about the Carolina Hurricanes. Let me say that up. Well, sort of. I have a concern. I have a legitimate concern. I am concerned about goaltending from this perspective. Fifth straight bad start, I thought, from Pyotr Kochetkov. Bad is not maybe the perfect word there. But it certainly was the fifth start in a row where you go, man, do we need better from number 52. And we're going to hear from Rod Brindamore in a second. And here's why, and I talked about this on the podcast last night. I have talked about it here before. If you are interested in the Canes Corner podcast, it is available to you. You can even watch it on YouTube, youtube.com/Canes Corner, or you can just subscribe to the Canes Corner podcast wherever you get your podcasts, and it is there after every Hurricanes game. Here is why I am concerned. I think we are well past the time where, and Rod might not admit it, where we know who's starting game one of the playoffs. It's going to be Frederik Andersen. And by the way, tomorrow we'll find out if I should be super concerned because tomorrow has become a big start for Freddie. But it's 5 games in a row now where Kochetkov has been subpar to varying degrees. And if he's not reliable, it is far more likely that Rod Brindamore says, I've got number 31 here, and he's been really good, so why would I start the guy in the playoffs who has not been really good or even good at all? And therefore, we have no back-to-backs in the playoffs, so we'll just let it roll. We'll let Freddie roll. Except that we all know Frederik Andersen will break. He will break down. Can't use him every game, even if there are days off in between. He is not that guy anymore. So I could see a scenario where at least I hope they do it this way, where Rod just essentially euthanizes a game. Just say, you know what? Screw it. Piotr's got to start because I can't beat the heck out of Freddie.
It's a wash.
So if we, I hope the Hurricanes can manage wins in games 1 and 2 at home. They'll end up with home ice advantage in the first round, even if by accident. And I hope they can win those games. And then I hope Rod says, Pyotr, give it a shot in game 3.
Yeah, the Devils were trying to help them last night.
Devils did help them last night. They got hammered by Boston last night. 7-2. What? At home in Newark. They got crushed at home by the Bruins. Yes, I know the Bruins just beat Carolina 5-1, but we didn't think that was going to happen twice, especially with the Devils, kind of stringing this whole thing along. And the Devils, by the way, haven't clinched a playoff spot yet. They will. It's a formality. Their magic number is 1-2. So now Carolina's magic number to clinch home ice advantage in the first round is down to 1 through no fault of their own because the Devils took 2 off of it by getting blown out at home to Boston. But they need to see something from Piotr. All right, here's Rod Brindamore last night, what he saw from Kochetkov.
Well, he battled. The second one's probably shouldn't go in. There's not much that guy can do but put it there. So that one was tough. It's a good play by them, but we got to have that at that point probably. But, can't put it on him. We don't score any goals. It's really irrelevant.
Right. So there are two things, and they're both true here. The Hurricanes' loss to the Buffalo Sabres last night, 3-0, is not hung on Pyotr Kochetkov. They didn't lose the game because of him. Because last I checked, 0 goals probably isn't going to win you a game. Theoretically, it could, because you could win a 0-0 game in a shootout, and nobody scored a goal.
Yeah, despite them having almost double shots on goal.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that, because it's part of my... I talked about this last night, too. The analytics community will not like me, okay? But I will talk about it. But the goal that Rod is talking about was a shorthanded goal, which happened late in the second period, and it was already 1-0 Buffalo. Carolina's on the power play. Power play wasn't bad. It generated some chances. It wasn't awesome, but again, generated some chances. This one was kind of with about 30 seconds left in the power play. Second unit is on. Jack Roslovic loses the faceoff. Bowen Byram for Buffalo shoots the puck up the middle of the ice. Set play if you win the faceoff. Alex Tuch just broke long, and Brent Burns is caught flat-footed. So Tuch, who's a great skater, fast, gets behind Burns. So that's a bad awareness from Burns. Once you lose the faceoff, you have to protect. So he was slow to protect, but in fairness to Burns, or to his credit, he battled and defended the play as well as you can defend it from behind. He made Tuch's job difficult. Pyotr Kochetkov made Tuch's job easy by having his stick just be there. It wasn't doing anything. It was just there. Pyotr, use your stick. I'm not talking about a poke check. Have your stick help you play the goaltending position.
Yeah.
But no, he left the 5-hole wide open. As Rod said, there was only one thing he was going to do about it. Burns did enough good defensively to force Tuch to one side, and Kochetkov has to be better.
And then he eventually started using his stick to get a penalty later in the game.
He did. He tripped.
Jeez.
Oh, was it Tage Thompson? Yeah. It's whatever. It happens. The truth of the matter is that Kochetkov right now has zero confidence, and you can tell as he's playing. He made some good saves, but he also made some, as I said in the first period on Twitter, Pyotr Kochetkov has made 2 really good saves in this period, and he's also had 2, what the heck are you doing moments? Like, one of them was he came out to play a puck, which he had no chance to get to, and if the guy who got to the puck for Buffalo, Ryan McLeod, who has 5 goals against Carolina in 9 career games, including a hat trick this year, if Ryan McLeod was just a little bit better, that's a goal.
Yes.
He backhanded it wide into it for an empty net. It's possible that Jalen Chatfield might have been able to stop it. But still, I mean, it's an empty net, and McLeod missed the frame. I don't know what Kochetkov was doing there. Well,
I felt like the later the game went on, the more he was trying to be the goalie and a player on the ice.
Well, yes. He made a save once, a good glove save, and then he put the puck back out into play. Like, who's that to?
Right.
That wasn't to anybody. And he had to make another glove save when the puck ended up on the stick of a Buffalo Sabre. So we have major Pyotr Kochetkov issues to deal with, which don't really impact anything in the playoffs if he's not going to play, but him not playing impacts Frederik Andersen. All right, I'm not concerned about the team because I feel like I know who they are. And whether you agree with me or not, I've been saying this consistently, I do not consider the Hurricanes a legitimate Stanley Cup contender. I think with the right breaks, they can win 2 rounds of the playoffs. Hey, I said this, I think yesterday or on the podcast. They could lose to the Devils in the first round of the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And frankly, I'm not sure that series is any more than a toss-up. The Devils can score. The Devils have better goaltending.
And if Freddie gets tired and we have to use Kochetkov, then we're done.
Look, I know the Devils don't have Jack Hughes, and it remains to be seen whether they will have Dougie Hamilton. But I watched the Devils on Saturday. They can go. They can still get up and down the ice. They are still good. They have one of the best two-way centers in the sport in Nico Hischier. They have some veteran presence as well. I think they're good. Can Carolina win that series? Sure. Can Carolina beat Washington or Montreal in the second series? Yeah, they can. But I'm telling you, a team from Florida is going to be sitting there in the Eastern Conference Finals, and no team from the Metropolitan Division is beating one of those teams in the conference finals. We are going to have a team from Florida in the Stanley Cup Finals for, I believe, a 6th consecutive year.
Yeah.
Tampa, Florida, question mark. Andrei Svechnikov and Jordan Staal returned last night. They're fine. I don't think that line was great at any point, but they were fine. They weren't Carolina's best line. I would say they were Carolina's third best line last night. The only line that played the way the Hurricanes really want to play was Mark Jankowski, Eric Robinson, and Tyson Jost. I thought they were really good. Really good. I thought the Aho line, while they didn't play the way this team is designed to play, they definitely generated scoring chances. Sebastian could have had 2 goals for the same price last night. The best chance was blocked by a defenseman in front. It was also saved by James Reimer, our old friend. But that was the line that generated that, and the Jost and the Jankowski line were the 2 lines I thought that generated the best scoring chances. There just weren't a ton of high-level chances. Here's Rod Brindamore on that.
Yeah, I mean, we got to get more people at the net there. That's the old adage, right? But we did have a few that were, real good opportunities, and give Rhymes credit. He made some big saves. But we got another level, that's for sure. It's obvious, and we've taken a little breather here since we kind of got in. You could feel it. I guess I don't want to say it's kind of expected, but we got to snap out of it here quick.
All right, real quick. The Capitals tonight or tomorrow at home. Ovechkin has already wrapped up his goal scoring record. The Capitals still have not yet clinched home ice advantage throughout the East, so they have that to play for. But they're also kind of a mess. They just got beat by the Islanders 4-1. So, Rod, what about tomorrow?
We're in good shape. It's just we gotta get a little better. We gotta get a little more from our guys if we want to win. And, we obviously want to do that heading into the playoffs. We want to feel good about our game, but like I said, it's a new day coming tomorrow. I don't want to get tuned down on the group. I mean, we still played a pretty decent game. It's just we got to find a goal here or there.
Yeah. Sometimes after games, there's nothing good to say. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that last night was all bad. I mean, they didn't get run. They had chances to score. If you get a break here, if Kochetkov doesn't allow the second goal, and it's a 1-0 game going to the third period, it's a one-shot hockey game. I mean, that's a game that's still winnable. But that isn't what happened. And they need better goaltending. They need to create more. They need to get to their game. They haven't done that just yet. By the way, for people who follow these things, Ivan Demidov, one of the Montreal Canadiens' top prospects, just came over from Russia from the same team for which Alexander Nikishin plays, Carolina's top prospect. So Demidov is going to be in Montreal's lineup, I would think, for the rest of the regular season. They'll make a decision on him for the playoffs. I don't think Alexander Nikishin's going to play for Carolina, but if it happened there, there's no reason why it can't happen for Carolina. We will keep you posted. By the way, the NHL season ends Thursday.
Yeah.
Next Thursday, a week from tomorrow. Mm-hmm. The playoffs are scheduled to start Saturday. There will be 2 games Saturday, 4 games Sunday, 4 games Monday. And I read a pretty interesting breakdown, somebody kind of projecting where the playoff series will begin. And it makes logical sense for Carolina, New Jersey to be a Monday start. That doesn't mean it will be, because the NHL won't even release the playoff schedule until Thursday night, because they want to give everybody the most time, which is the opposite of that. All right, so the NBA regular season ends Sunday, and their playoffs will start in the middle of the week. So you remember a week ago when the Memphis Grizzlies fired their head coach, Taylor Jenkins, the best head coach in Memphis Grizzlies history, as if that's a thing.
Yes.
Like with a week to go in the regular season, they fired the head coach. Well, the Denver Nuggets yesterday booted the coach who was at the helm when they won the NBA Finals, the title, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Michael Malone. Get out. Just get out, along with GM Calvin Booth. And the Nuggets have 3 games left. Here is Josh Kroenke, who his father owns the team, but Josh Kroenke is the team president, and his thoughts on why.
You know, this wasn't a decision that was taken lightly or taken as in a reactionary fashion to anything specific. Having observed our group over a very long period of time, what I would say is that, having observed that group over a period of time, there were certain trends that were very worrisome to me at different points in time. But they would get masked by a few wins here and there. And, in the world of professional sports, when winning and losing is your currency, winning can mask a lot of things. We went on an eight-game win streak right before the All-Star break. But since then, I think we're 11-13. We've lost our last 4, and we're trending towards a direction that I thought would probably be a very, near end to our a very near end to our season in the near future. And so, all that taken into consideration, wanted to try to figure out a way to potentially squeeze as much juice out of the rest of the season as possible. And I think that, after talking with my father in recent days, we came to the decision that we were going to be changing these roles at the end of the season. And that, with that thinking in our mind that we know that we're going to be changing these roles at the end of the season, then your mind then turns to, what is the best decision for this group right now? And, from that point forward, I think that, I became comfortable with the thinking of, let's try to shake this tree and squeeze as much out of this as we can. And that's where we arrived at with the decisions today.
All right. So, question. Wasn't reactionary. They've lost 4 in a row. But we're not reacting to 4 in a row. I get it. If you think that you're going to fire the coach, that's fine. You're allowed to do that. And it wouldn't be the first coach to win a title and then 2 years later get fired. And the Lakers won a title with Frank Vogel as the head coach and fired him in a year. I mean, it happens, right? The Philadelphia Eagles won a Super Bowl with Doug Peterson. 2 years later, he was fired. None of this should surprise anybody. 3 games before the end of the regular season, you can't tell me it's not reactionary. And I just don't. First of all, you promoted an assistant. I don't know, maybe the assistant was pleading with Michael Malone to do things differently. I have no idea. And maybe just the shock of firing a head coach will spur the group on to bigger and better. That's also possible. But it was definitely reactionary. And again, that's okay when you're the owner of the team. But it seems pretty silly to do it with 3 games left in the regular season. We'll see if it works. They still have the best player in the league, the best player in the world, in Nikola Jokic, who is a walking triple-double at the center position. And they are good enough to beat any team on any night. And in a 7-game series, Jokic can absolutely ruin the other team. It's going to be about him and the supporting cast as much as it's going to be about who the coach is, but that was like there was a lot of word salad in that answer. All right, we're going to take a break. Masters starts tomorrow. No way there's any more pressure on Rory on any other player more than there is on Rory McIlroy, but we're going to try as best we can to talk about players not named Rory McIlroy, because I think it's probably growing tiresome to a lot of people. Gary Williams, 5 Clubs Golf, is going to join us to talk about it. Next.
Questioning goalie interference calls since day one. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
NC State basketball got their guy, Will Wade. He was number 1A on their wish list. He's coming off a win with McNeese State in the NCAA tournament, and all of that is nice, the sizzle, the buzz, it's great. But so much of it is still going to come down to the same thing. Does he have the NIL money to get the players on campus?
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friend Gordon Miller, Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road in Cary. And reason number 1,687 why you should go to Miller Lending for all of your mortgage needs. The people, that's a great reason. Gordon Miller invented the no closing cost mortgage back in 1987, brought it to the Triangle in 1996, and you, your neighbors, me, 11 times me, have saved thousands of dollars every single time that we refinance. People are great. The website is amazing, very helpful. And the know-how that you will save thousands of dollars when you either buy the house or when you refinance and the rates come down. Here's the thing. Paying closing costs only saves you about $50 a month on your mortgage. Who needs to save that when you can save thousands by not paying closing costs? Miller Lending on Kildare Farm Road in Cary, an equal housing lender, NMLS ID 2502146.
Doesn't the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club give the best massages?
I've never felt so relaxed.
Thanks to this month's scratch-offs, this is our life now.
It's like winning again and again and again.
This month's scratch-offs pack over $150 million in total prizes. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 to 3.8 to 9.88. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Welcome to Take 5 Oil Change.
Thanks. Got my seat cushion, crossword puzzle, and oh, can't forget the hand sanitizer. Okay, show me the waiting room.
No need for all that. You can stay in your car.
I'll stay in my car? Get out.
Yep, you stay in. It'll just be 10 minutes.
10 minutes? Get out.
Go ahead, sit back and relax.
Well, I guess I'll save all this for the DMV. If only they took 10 minutes, am I right? I'm sorry.
Take 5. The Stay in Your Car 10-minute oil change. We're with Kevin of Fairway Green. Everybody wants that curb appeal, don't they?
All the top brands like Callaway, TaylorMade, Mizuno, Ping, and Titleist. Plus expert help from our team of PGA Golf professionals for lessons and fittings. Global Golf has you covered with Carolina's largest selection of pre-owned clubs and the easiest way to trade in your current golf clubs. Visit Global Golf today and get ready to play. Located on 7320 ACC Boulevard, North Raleigh. Global Golf, home of the best deals in golf.
When you switch to Progressive, you could save bundling your home and auto. Then you could put that money towards some of the surprisingly more expensive things in life.
Attention passengers, we've reached 10,000 feet and internet is now available for purchase.
I just paid hundreds for this flight, and you can't even throw an internet? I'll just take the free pretzels.
Sorry, but I do have snack boxes for sale.
I'm just gonna sleep.
In that case, we are selling pillows and blankets as well.
I'll just breathe. That's free, right?
Life costs a lot, so bundle and you could save with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company, affiliates, and other insurers. Not available in all states.
This is Adam Gold.
Thank you very much for your time, man. We will talk again.
Adam, anytime for you, my friend.
Thank you. I don't know why it makes me laugh. Why does that make me laugh?
I don't know. Maybe you just are used to people being mean to you or something, like Twitter. I don't know.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold.
Wonder if we've put anybody to sleep yet. Anyone who doesn't know, because I would know. This is the Masters theme song.
There are certain things about... I love golf. It's one of my favorite sports. I love major championship golf, which is way different than regular golf. And just like I think... for a lot of people, playoff hockey is different from regular season hockey. These are golf's playoffs, the majors.
Mm-hmm.
Most important events by far every year. You throw the Players is a big event, so you throw that in. Then you throw whatever the team event is at the end of the year. If it's the President's Cup, who cares? Ryder Cup, legit matters. It's basically a major in terms of the real pressure involved. So everybody's got different ways of, different things that they like. It took me a long time to not roll my eyes. I've just accepted that, okay, the Masters is sort of, let's turn the clocks back 40 years.
Yeah.
Just kind of is. At least we are far enough along in our evolution as people that we're no longer discriminating.
Right.
Right? At least we're here where, okay, yeah, all of those other things we used to have to, pretend didn't exist.
Right. Progress.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. At least we're beyond that with the Masters, which was my biggest hang-up in terms of fully embracing this, because there are people who love this tournament way above every other one. And we all have different, which major do we like the best, all of this kind of stuff. As a kid growing up, my favorite tournament every year was the U.S. Open. And there are people who hate the U.S. Open, it's too hard, or whatever. Major championships are supposed to be hard.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, it was supposed to do that. So, for me, this ranked probably third. But because it's the first major, and it's on the same course all the time, and it is beautiful, and it is exciting, I'm not arguing with anybody. You like what you like.
Is this the course that Tiger Woods talked about, there's a lot of walking and...
Well, they're all a lot of walking.
I know. I feel like there was one in particular.
Well, there's a lot of hills.
Yes,
it's a difficult walk.
Yes.
And this was always going to be Tiger's problem because when he came back after the car accident, because he just couldn't walk. It is a very, very hilly walk. Television doesn't do that justice.
Right.
Pinehurst was a difficult walk for him, too, last year, by the way, because Pinehurst has, enough hills to make that problematic. And I think Valhalla was probably a little bit of an issue for him last year. But this tournament is just kind of sets itself apart for a lot of reasons. We know what the course is. We've seen it over and over and over again. If you're somebody my age, you've been watching golf, basically your entire adult life. I remember the 86 Masters I was the guy not rooting for Jack Nicklaus. I was a huge Greg Norman fan and a Seve Ballesteros fan back in the day, and those were two guys who capitulated to Nicklaus. I was not rooting for Nicklaus. I get it. I get, greatest, winner of all time. But I was not that guy. And so I remember all of the tournaments in the late 70s all the way through today. And it's the same golf course every year, even though they have made changes. So it has been difficult to, not difficult, but it's I'm not going to argue with all of those elements that make it somebody's favorite. I think the biggest deal really is that it's the first one. If the Masters was the second major every year, I'm not sure it would have the same place, but it doesn't really matter why you love it. We will talk to Gary Williams at some point today. It's not going to be right now. So I'm just going to say this one thing, and then I'm going to move on to some other things that I wanted to get to. And I have a quiz for you, Victoria.
Ooh,
yes, a quick quiz question.
I'm ready.
But it is amazing to me. I want Rory McIlroy to win.
Yes.
No doubt about it. I want Rory to win. I am amazed at how many people who cover the sport clearly want Rory to win. It is the only sport that we cover where we blatantly root for an entity to win. Nobody does this in tennis. It's an individual sport. Nobody does it in tennis.
Right.
But, man, we are doing it in golf. The world wants Rory McIlroy to win.
Yeah, and hockey, it's kind of the opposite for the Canes. It almost sometimes feels like the way they talk, especially when you play the Rangers. Well, the Rangers might be able to pull through. But
well, that is true. I think people more root against teams than they root for teams, although the Rangers might be the exception to that rule. All right, quick quiz for you, Victoria.
Okay.
Major League Baseball team that has scored the most runs this season is?
I know this because I just tweeted it. It's my Cubbies.
94 runs.
Who runs the world? Cubbies.
They're in first place in the division.
I know. Look at them go.
Right?
They washed those Dodger losses off. Now look at them.
Yeah. The Cubs lead the Central. You know who is second in runs scored in Major League Baseball?
I'd have to look at the tweet again.
The Yankees are second.
Oh, yeah.
The Cardinals are third. Cardinals hung 5 runs on Paul Skeens yesterday. So the first time he has ever given up that many runs in a big league start.
Paul Skeens.
Yeah, exactly. The Mets have won 5 in a row, 6 in a row.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, look at that.
All right, now one more thing about baseball. The best thing, the absolute best thing about living in the United States of America, this is by far the best thing. Daytime baseball during the week.
Yes. Love it.
I love day baseball.
Right.
I saw somebody say this the other day. Why don't other sports do day games?
That would be ideal.
Right? Especially if you're at the end of a road trip, you have a 1:00 game, Knicks in Boston, and then the Knicks are like going to LA the next day. It's like, come on.
Right?
Day basketball. Why can't we do that?
Adults would play hooky at work a lot more like we did in school so we could watch sports in the middle of the day.
Maybe that's why they do it. They don't want people ditching work.
We got to pay bills.
They don't want.
We can't afford it.
They do not want people ditching work. But yes, I believe that is the number one thing. Real quick, back to basketball. We talked about the Nuggets. We're going to get into this tomorrow for sure. There are 6 teams in the NBA, in the Western Conference in the NBA, separated by 2 games in the standings with 3 games left to play. The Lakers right now are 3rd place in the West. They are 1 game ahead of 4 teams tied for 4th. So 4, 5, 6, and 7 all have the identical record, one game behind the Lakers. I think it's Memphis. Was it Memphis or Minnesota? Minnesota is in 8th place, one game behind that 4-team logjam. So the next 3 games, everybody's got 3 games left sitting here today. The next 3 games, you could go from 3rd to 8th, and if you slip into 7th or 8th, you have to play in that play-in tournament, which means potentially 2 more games before you become the 8th seed and have to deal with the Oklahoma City Thunder in the first series of the NBA playoffs. The Western Conference playoffs really start now. We know who's going to be in. I think in both conferences, I think we know who's going to be in. But man, that log jam in the West is absolutely amazing. All right, we'll take a quick break. We will come back. We will stretch. No, we have one-timers.
You're thinking ahead.
I am. Gary Williams is going to join us top of the hour. He was, as he said, stuck out on the course, and there's really no good place to do something on the course. All right, we will do one-timers next.
Talking sports, so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Adam Gold here from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and a sports book unlike any other. It's the first major of the year in Augusta. That's right. Pinky out. Hoity-toity. And we are giving new customers $250 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 wager. This is how it's done. Win that first $5 bet, take $250 of their money, and flood the zone. Rory's going to win. Will Zalatoris is going to be in the top 10. FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel.com/AGS. America's #1 sportsbook. Swing for some green at Augusta. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
From the mountains to the coast, there is tremendous pride in North Carolina agriculture. NC Forever Farms is a program recognizing family farms that are protecting precious working lands vital to the future of agriculture. Through permanent agricultural conservation easements, these NC Forever Farms will always be protected from development. Learn more about preserving family farms through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services by visiting ncadfp.org.
This April, join North Carolina Realtors in celebrating Fair Housing Month. Fair housing means everyone deserves a place to call home, regardless of race, color, national origin, religion, sex, or disability. NC Realtors are committed to fair housing for all North Carolinians and ensuring that everyone has access to safe and affordable housing. Let's work together to create communities where everyone can thrive. Visit ncrealtors.org to learn more about fair housing. Paid for by NC Realtors.
The North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services is looking for people age 21 or older to volunteer in long-term care facilities. Community Advisory Committee volunteers help residents and their families advocate for the needs of individuals living in long-term care facilities, such as nursing homes, assisted living facilities, and family care homes. Volunteers must complete orientation and training to become designated and certified representatives of the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program. Visit ncdhhs.gov/aging to find your county's ombudsman.
Every day, people battling addiction suffer in silence. Because of stigma, they fear judgment. They fear being labeled, and too often, they don't get the help they need. But you can help change that. Join the Governor's Institute and be a superhero in the overdose battle campaign. Learn how to break the stigma, support those in need, and save lives. Visit governorsinstitute.org/superhero to get involved. Be a hero. Fight stigma. Save a life.
The Body Armor State Games are coming to Greensboro this June. Registration is open to athletes of all ages and skill levels in 20 different sports. The Body Armor State Games feature 11,000 athletes and 600 teams. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Visit bodyarmorstategames.org today. That's bodyarmorstategames.org. The Body Armor State Games are proud to partner with Truist, Lowe's Foods, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
Did you know that since you have public power, your electricity is operated and controlled by people in your community, not by a for-profit, investor-owned company? These local folks are directly accountable to you. They don't answer to shareholders. They make decisions for the good of your community. What's more, your public power provider invests in your community, providing jobs and supporting your local economy. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
This is Adam Gold.
And I did have to use two screens at one point, or a couple of points, and I don't like it. I can't watch two games at the same time.
There's a lot going on.
I'm sorry. I'm incapable of doing that. Because there were times where, I forgot this other game was on in front of me.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Remember last week when Elliot Cadeau entered the transfer portal and signed at Michigan? My take on Cadeau entering the portal, and he wasn't the only one. Cadeau and Jalen Washington and eventually Ian Jackson also entered the transfer portal. We also don't know what Drake Powell is going to do. At this point, I mean, he might very well put his name in the NBA draft. I have no idea. And because, we've just been intently following the end of the college basketball season, I am admittedly, my head's swimming with, covering the Canes and doing all this. And then, there's thousands of players in the portal. So, in general, I will pick up once we have a whole bunch of decisions, because there's so many moving parts. Carolina has done pretty well. They got the kid from West Virginia, is more of a spot-up shooter, and they got the big man from Arizona, right? Henry Visar, who I thought played very well against Duke. My take on Elliot Cadeau entering the transfer portal was Carolina's serious about this. And I don't think it's a good thing or a bad. I mean, I just think that this is the way it is. This is very un-Carolina-like. In most cases, these guys come here and they stay here. But there are very few programs where that is the case. For good or bad, I think it's good that Carolina is going through a bit of a shakeup. I don't know how it's going to project in terms of what they're going to look like next year. Ian Jackson had a great, I would say, middle 2 months of the season, and then his game fell off. The shooting wasn't as good. His struggles on the defensive end, because it's not easy. Very few of these guys were asked to defend at a high level in high school or in their AAU circuit. And then they come here and you got to guard, and you got to guard other players who are really good. And that isn't always easy. But I like the fact that it does appear that North Carolina is going to look different. I take that as a positive, not a negative. We have no idea what Duke's roster is going to look like next year. We have no idea if NC State's roster is going to look like McNeese State's roster from a year ago. We are way too early in the process. Some schools are a little bit further along. I get it. But Will Wade's got to sort through a whole bunch of things before he can come to grips with what his team is going to look like. I said this before. Somebody asked me, it might have been when I was on with the guys in Charlotte yesterday. my thought, or maybe it was here. I think it was here during one-timers. My thought about State under Will Wade. I think it was here during one-timers, which we're going to get to here after I reiterate this. I think that there is a huge challenge for Will Wade to reconstruct NC State's roster to the point where it's going to be really good this year. It's just, you get here a little bit late. There's so many holes to fill on the roster. It's just going to be difficult for this team to be really good. But my long-term view of NC State is I'm extremely bullish on what they're going to be like next year, the year after, the year after, the year after. I think Will Wade will have them, competing in at the top of the league, the top, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams year in and year out. And I wouldn't put it past Will Wade that this team would be winning the league. Absolutely. That's what his history is. He has done this everywhere he's been. Different level. I understand he was in the SEC, but that's what he did in the SEC. We'll see what they've got in store. This year, I think, is going to be a little tough, but I think in the future, I think they're going to be excellent. All right, one-timers.
Okay, so looking at our YouTube stream, we do have a few there. First up from Levi, Kuznetsov is freed from his KHL contract, so he wants to know, return to Carolina, ? Do we want or need that?
No, he's not. I don't think Alexander Nikishin is going to be a factor in the playoffs. So
no, Kuznetsov.
I'm sorry. No. I'm sorry. I heard Russian. I was already into Alexander Nikishin.
Right.
No, it didn't work last year. Why would it work this year? I mean, they need a better center, but theoretically he would have been that last year and he wasn't. So no, not going to happen.
Yeah. Okay. Next up from Jeremy, could the Canes have a complete new goalie tandem next year?
Probably not. I would be surprised if Kochetkov wasn't at least the backup next year. But I think the goaltending situation will look different. There will be a new name, maybe not the primary one. Look, they've got 2 more years or 3 more years left with Kochetkov. And, they got to make something out of this. $2 million is a lot to pay your backup that is not a known commodity veteran. We're still in this not really sure what we're going to get moment with Kochetkov. We need some more certainty there, but I do think that there will be another name as at least the tandem goalie with Kochetkov next season.
Yeah. Well, next up, this one from William. If the Canes aren't going to try right now, why leave PK in the game versus just rolling with Martin?
Say that one more time. I'm confirming things with Gary Williams. I apologize.
This one from William. If the Canes aren't going to try right now, why leave PK in the game versus just rolling out with Martin?
Spencer Martin. What are we, crazy? Come on. Spencer Martin's a minor league goalie. That's the reason he's in the minor leagues right now. Dustin Tokarski is a minor league goalie. It's why they needed to get Freddie back or make a trade. Come on. We can't, just because Spencer Martin had a good run last year, right? He had a handful of really good starts and had some good starts this year, but he's a minor league goalie. I mean, we just have to come to grips with that.
Nah. Well, this one fresh off the press from Caleb. Should Rod switch up the deep pairs? Walker with Slavin, maybe?
Would Walker be a better partner for Slavin to cover for Slavin's mistakes? Is that what he's trying to get at? We have lost the plot. The deep pairs, this is the unfortunate thing, and I've been talking about this all year. There really aren't other partnerships. This is not a defensive core that can be mixed and matched. It just is not set up that way. Brent Burns is the partner for Jacob Slavin. We blame Brent Burns for a lot of stuff that isn't really Brent Burns' fault. It has become a cottage industry to just throw mud at Burns. I ain't saying Burns has been great, but like last night, Slavin wasn't great for the third straight game, by the way. I'm not worried about him, right? But nobody, like I tweeted out, like a breakdown of the 3 goals, and I was really bare bones. I didn't go into a lot of detail. I just went, Blake turnover leads to the first goal. All right, lost face-off leads to the shorthanded goal. They're like, no mention of Burns. I'm like, I also didn't mention Slavin on the first goal. And Jacob Slavin misplayed the first goal. What are we doing? Stop, people. Stop. Burns he's not amazing, but he isn't the biggest problem that they've got. Slavin needs to be better now, too. Chill. Just chill. I think I have a pretty good grasp on who's great, who's not so great, and how these things work. There are no other good combinations. You know how I really know? Because they haven't done any. Apart from an injury, these have been the same pairs all year long. Because there really isn't a flexibility possibility with this group. It's just the way it's set up. I didn't mean to yell at anybody. I apologize for that.
Talking sports, so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen to 99.9 The Fan every afternoon during the drive for your chance to see the Storm surge in person. It's our annual 10K playoff payout. Try your luck at playoff tickets by finding the golden puck and take your ultimate slap shot at $10,000. Listen for the 10K playoff payout. And remember, with Ford F-150 on your team, it's game on. See your Carolina Ford dealer today.
Now, in Sanford, the Chatley Marine Boat Show and Sale featuring Yamaha boats. With giant indoor showrooms and an on-site test lake, Chatley's the choice for your next Yamaha boat. Find a huge selection of 19 through 25-foot runabouts and the popular Wake Series boats. With special financing, discounts up to $6,000, and immediate delivery available, now is the time to get your new Yamaha at the best price. Hurry to the Chatley Marine Boat Show and Sale in Sanford. ChatleyBoats.com.
Are your monthly bills keeping you up at night, wondering how you got so behind? Hey, I'm Roger Moore, CEO of Loan Pronto. I get it. Life is expensive now. Insurance, groceries, cars. And then there's the credit card debt with those obscene interest rates. It's time to regain your financial freedom. And that's what we offer at Loan Pronto, using the power of the equity in your home. We have multiple ways to get you the cash you need, and most clients close in 2 weeks or less, and many don't even require an appraisal. And listen, rates have been plummeting recently. We just locked a homeowner in with an APR in the low 5s, saving her over $1,000 per month, and put $10,000 in her pocket. Life-changing money. Whether you're drowning in debt, have a nosebleed rate you got last year, need home improvements, or simply need cash in your pocket, we can help you accomplish this goal in record time. Call us today and get started with no hard credit pull, just a conversation. LoanPronto.com, 919-381-1760. LoanPronto.com. That's LoanPronto.com.
Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSConsumerAccess.org.
See if you're a winner every night. Watch live lottery drawings on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news. That's right, Carolina Pick 3, Carolina Pick 4, and Carolina Cash 5 numbers every night on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news. See if you're a winner before you go off to bed. Get your lottery numbers live every night.
North Carolina Education Lottery.
Only on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news.
March basketball is unpredictable. Your elevators shouldn't be. Metro Elevator keeps your building moving. Our highly trained technicians deliver fast, responsive service for peak performance. Visit metro-elevator.com/Raleigh to keep your elevators in championship form.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, let's talk ED, because millions of men experience it. But not everyone can access or afford treatments like Viagra. Hims can help. Through Hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to Hims.com/joy. HIMS.com/JOY.
Cool cars, cool people, good times. America's favorite car show is back. The Good Guys 10th Griot's Garage North Carolina Nationals presented by Tripp. April 18th and 19th at the North Carolina State Fairgrounds in Raleigh. Cruise on out and see over 1,500 of the Southeast's finest hot rods, muscle cars, and trick trucks. Autocross racing, a Saturday night demolition derby, vendor midway, live entertainment, and more. April 18th and 19th at the North Carolina State Fairgrounds. Details at good-guys.com.
I'm attorney Brian Ritchie. Big truck accidents can cause life-changing injuries, and life-changing injuries deserve life-changing money. I know big truck wrecks, and I know how to fight those big insurance companies. If you've been hurt by a big truck, contact us at ritchielaw.com. I'm on top of it.
Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
Cooper on the right. He hits a three. What do you want, coach? He's got 16. Cooper steps through, hesitates, goes up, counted it a foul. My goodness, the skill, the strength, and he's got a free throw coming as well. Inside Brown, out for flag, right side three. Big time! Cooper delivers, and the lead back to 9.
These guys have done an incredible job. It's heartbreaking. That's what the tournament is all about.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. It was heartbreaking for Duke. It was heartbreaking for the players, the coaches, the fans, all of that. So close, really had the game by the throat, let it go. But that is sports. I didn't bring this up earlier, but it's a good thing it was just a regular season game. But you know, the Dallas Stars had a 5-2 lead with a minute to play at home against the Vancouver Canucks and lost in overtime. That is a true thing that happened. The Dallas Stars, maybe the second choice, maybe the first choice to win the Stanley Cup. They led 5-2 with a minute to play at home to a team that isn't going to make the playoffs and lost the game. Stunning. Vancouver scored 3 times in the last minute, then won it in overtime. Look, Duke should have won the game, but they didn't. Look, Rory McIlroy should have won the U.S. Open last year, but didn't. Gary Williams, 5 Clubs Golf, which you can also watch in the mornings on Golf Channel. He joins us from somewhere. Are you using your phone on the golf course at Augusta, Gary?
If I want my career to end as I utter these words, absolutely, unequivocally no. No, I've made my way, Adam, back to the press building, which is like being, I can't explain to people, to your listening audience, how ridiculously, this place is, it's hard to explain. It is such an incredible place to work for a week.
Yeah.
And it really goes all the way back. It goes back, look, Bob Jones had great appreciation for the written press, for people who covered specifically, the game of golf. It started with Grantland Rice, obviously O.B. Keeler, his biographer, but it's an amazing place to come to watch golf, but it's also an extraordinary experience to work in this facility for the week. It's amazing.
I have never, it's not that I haven't had the opportunity, I didn't take the opportunity when I had it, and now I really don't have the time to be able to do it. So it is one of those things in my career that I will probably go, man, I wish I had done that. So I will live vicariously through Gary Williams. By the way, I've been a viewer of all the stuff you guys do at 5 Clubs Golf. And in the mornings when I watch you on Golf Channel, you put a tie on. You've completely, now I'm not even sure what I'm watching anymore.
I put a tie on. I kind of have It's not that loose. I mean, Mondays I put a tie on. Tuesdays kind of casual Tuesday.
Okay.
Wednesdays kind of like a cruise line, maybe a sport coat, a sport shirt. I'm trying to represent the entire Peter Millar line, which, of course, their corporate headquarters in Raleigh, North Carolina.
Very good plug. It's why you're Gary Williams. All right, so I want to get to things that aren't about Rory McIlroy. If we have time, we'll get to Rory because it is dominated. It is the number one thing. So let me start with where Scottie Scheffler's game is as he approaches this Masters, trying to make it 3 out of 4. It's like there have been a little bit of things missing in his game. He hasn't won yet. He had a ravioli accident. I appreciated, by the way, the question asking him about ravioli at the press conference the other day, which I thought was hysterical. Where is his game, and is he still the favorite in your eyes?
Yeah, he's still the favorite in my eyes. He's as you pointed out, he's looking to do this 3 out of 4 years. Jack Nicklaus is the only player in Masters history, 63, 65, 66, to win 3 out of 4 years. He has not only the institutional knowledge, he has a toolkit that is more complete than anybody else, starting with his mind. And yes, you're right. He has not won yet this year. But let me just add just a little bit of context to that. If you look at his historic year last year, his 6th start was his first win of the year in 2024. That was the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Then he obviously won the next week at the Players. Yeah. So he came here like a runaway freight train. So Houston was his 6th start. Because of the injury, he was deprived a couple of starts. So no, he has not won, but in terms of the number of starts, and he's got a second, he's got a third. Adam, the one area I would say is not firing at all cylinders to where we're accustomed to him being better than everybody else is his iron play. It's been not bad. It's been very, very good, but it just has not been, historically great statistically. Like we have to harken back to Tiger at his absolute apex to look at iron play over the course of a season, which is what he's done, not just in 24, but 23 and 22. I will say this, his putting numbers this year, which were deficient last year, and he won 7 times and had the gold medal.
Right.
His putting numbers are better. So, again, you can look at it a couple different ways. I still make him the favorite, and I make him the favorite comfortably. And one other little additional addendum as to why. You just made the point about Rory sucking up all the oxygen in the pre-tournament conversation. The two-time champion and defender is kind of under the radar in this peculiar way that's very dangerous for the field.
It might be 3 in a row were it not for Jon Rahm. Is Jon Rahm also under the radar?
Yes. The answer, I think, emphatically is yes, he's under the radar. My one concern, being here last year when he walked into the press building to do his pre-tournament press conference, it's usually such a celebration for the defending champion to walk back in a year removed. But he had made the move to live, and I thought in his defense, he was immediately defensive about his decision-making. Right. I thought he was in a weird headspace. Sitting in there yesterday, different. The one thing I would say that always is going to cause me concern about some of these live guys, if their schedule is going to continue to be what it is, which is hopscotch all over the globe from Adelaide to Hong Kong to Riyadh, and then you play one domestic event, and it's in Miami on Bermuda grass, so there's no agronomic corollary to coming to Augusta National, which is, perennial winter ryegrass and bent grass greens, whereas tour players get these run-up events that they're getting conditions that are built for them to have the kind of conditions they're going to face when they come here. So that's my concern, but I think Jon Rahm, I have a feeling, Adam, he's a factor this week.
Oh, I don't think there's any question he's going to be a factor this week. Gary Williams, 5 Clubs Golf on Twitter. Gary Williams 1 Up. That was the first time, I've been doing this for almost 30 years, the first time anybody has ever said agronomic corollary. I just want you to know that. We're going to write that down. Gary Williams, and it'll mark the time, 1:07 on April the 9th. There are so many heavy hitters. This is the reason why people say we need the reunification of the PGA Tour with all the guys coming back from LIV. Because you have DeJohn Rahms of the world. It's great to see Joaquin Niemann, who I think will be a factor this week as well. I think he's been the best player on LIV all season long. I think he's got a couple of wins. Yeah. Bryson DeChambeau, I think, is going to be a factor at every major that we play. His game is just so ripe for these things, and I think he's a big-time choice this week. And you've got guys like Ludwig Åberg and Colin Morikawa. I mean, the top five, and there's like 15 top 5 players in the world right now.
Yeah, that's interesting because somebody asked Jon Rahm, does he know what his world ranking is? And the point being made is that the ranking and the value of the ranking has been, it's wonky now, it's been diminished. And he said, actually, I know, am I still in the top 100? The guy said, you're 80th. And his question really was, do you still feel you're among the best players in the world, a top 5 player in the world? And he said, I'm going to answer that delicately, but yes, I believe that, and I do believe that as well. So we've made the point about Rahm. The Joaquin Niemann thing is interesting. Joaquin Niemann has never had a level of kind of referendum/radar on him in majors. He's still a very young guy, but he does have 22 major championship starts, and he's yet to finish in the top 10. And when you have guys like Phil Mickelson doing hot takes left and right, including saying that he arguably is the best player in the world, that's silly. You can't make that claim. You can say he's the best player on LIV. You can say he's among the best players in the world. Come on, man. He not only I wouldn't say he would have to win a major to be comfortably, he might be the best player in the world. He's never been a factor, not even close.
Right.
He comes here this week with people paying attention to his result. That's a different dynamic for him, and I'm fascinated to see how he plays.
Phil Mickelson with a hot take. Gary Williams, Five Club Golf, is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. Masters starts tomorrow. One more guy under the radar, and then I want to get your take on a couple of maybe not so dark horses, but kind of dark horses. Xander Schauffele has won the last 2 majors. I know he's been hurt. He had a rib cage injury that has caused the start of his season to be delayed. But man, his iron play has certainly looked good. Statistically speaking, his irons, especially from 175 yards and in, are among the best on tour. Why aren't we talking about Xander just because he hasn't challenged for a tournament yet this year? I wouldn't be shocked at all if we go to the back 9 on Sunday and he has a chance.
No, I think that last statement that you made is totally fair, because not only has he broken through the major championship vortex, he also has a sterling record here.
Yeah.
He has had multiple chances to win this, and I mean late, like in the deep end of the pool with a couple of holes to go. So he's got that on his side. He's got, obviously the confidence of knowing that he can win a major. My hesitation is just that to redline in terms of where you have to get in your processing of stuff. He's not contended yet this year. It's been a little while. The injury is what it is. I will say this, is that I thought he got out of his last start what he needed at minimum, which was he didn't contend at Valspar, but he finished tied for 12th. He shot 65 in the final round. He's managed to play 4-round events. He hadn't missed a cut. And he's ramping. I just don't know if he can accelerate enough to pull this off. But if he does, I'll be surprised, but I won't be shocked because, look, there was no doubt when the year started before this injury flared up that we all believed he was the second best player in the world, ahead of Rory.
Yep.
Rory is now sped in front of him because of the year that he's had to begin 2025. Schauffele he's under the radar primarily and almost exclusively because he's been injured.
Russell Henley's chances this week, Gary Williams.
Yeah, like him. I think he's in a different place as far as his profile as a player. He has always been somebody who plays well in the state of Florida. So the idea that he would have a couple of, good results as he's had, including, winning the Arnold Palmer Invitational. He's won in the Palm Beaches before. So it's not like he hasn't had success in the month of March before the Masters, but things have happened to Russell Henley coming into this that he hadn't experienced before, including being a part of an international American team. Mm-hmm. He was on the President's Cup team. He was partnered with Scotty Scheffler. I think that has emboldened him to believe that his place in the game is in a different place. I was with somebody who knows him exceptionally well, grew up with him just a couple of weeks ago, and he said he is equipped to deal with kind of people being more aware of him and being watched and being evaluated more. He is a highly competitive guy. He was an excellent high school basketball player. I wouldn't be a bit surprised. And again, he has played well here. I wouldn't be a bit surprised. Now, Russell Henley's going to be on the U.S. Ryder Cup team. I can say that very comfortably. I don't think there's going to be any doubt in large measure because Scheffler likes partnering with him. So if the number one player in the world is your advocate, there's a good chance you're going to be on it. But it's also going to be because he's one of the 12 best American players, which makes him one of the 20 best players in the world. Yeah, we're going to have to talk about the Ryder Cup team later on in the year. Yeah. Scotty Scheffler wanted to play with Sam Burns too. That didn't work out, but I do love Russell Henley. All right, final thing. I'm going to close with Rory, and then we'll say goodbye. There's got to be more pressure on him to win this Masters than any I can recall in my memory. And I don't know that it's not made worse by the fact that he had a 2.5-foot putt for par on the 16th hole on Sunday at the U.S. Open, and it all fell apart from there. If Rory's got in the same situation, what are people like you and me, who desperately want him to win because we love what Rory represents? What's going on in that? With everybody at that point. Wow. Let me say first that I agree with you that if you go back to Tiger at his height, when he came here to complete the Tiger Slam, there wasn't enormous pressure like this type of pressure. Tiger was light years beyond everybody else in the game. If he didn't win the 2001 Masters to win 4 majors in a row, it was not going to be like, the sky is falling kind of thing. Right. This is so peculiar. Rory is an outlier historically in several different ways, starting with the fact that he had 4 at 25, as only Jack and Tiger had, and then it dried up. So if you look at him from a historical standpoint, all players who went from their 4th major victory to their 5th, on average, they did it in 2.5 years. He's now in his 11th year, okay? That is incredibly challenging psychologically. And then add the other caveat, which is massive. His Rubicon to complete the career Grand Slam is here. And with all due respect to Gene Sarazen, who won in 1935, it wasn't called the Masters. Nobody knew what it was. It was a gathering truly of Bobby Jones's buddies. So retroactively, it was applied that he completed the career Grand Slam. There was no Grand Slam in 1935. It wasn't looked upon the way it is now. So he is carrying stuff here nobody has ever carried. Nobody. Yep. So if he does, in fact, win it, it's going to require some time, and recency bias is an epidemic in sports. You deal with it every day, covering all sports. I'm going to tell you, before we even hit a shot competitively, if he does it, it will be among the greatest accomplishments in the history of golf, because he will join a very select few that's ever done it, period, but he will do it under this really odd dynamic of the absence of not winning any major and then doing the Grand Slam here, which, again, Mr. Sarazen, respectfully, nobody knew what you did in 1935. No, 100% correct. All right, Gary Williams, before I say goodbye, who wins? Scheffler. Wow. And I know, look, the people on I-40 are going, oh, God, how unoriginal. Do we want to be creative or do we want to be right? And I feel most comfortable that I'm going to be right betting the 4-1 favorite, who I just think he's the best player, and he's the best player here.
And he has that confidence that I'm not sure some of the other guys have. Gary Williams, at Gary Williams, 1UP on Twitter. Thank you very much, my man. I'll talk to you very soon.
Adam, always a pleasure, my friend. Enjoy it.
And we will, absolutely. All right, take care. All right, when we come back,
Bye.
Victoria, Chip Patterson is going to join us. We're going to go into the Chipalytics at Augusta, but also we'll talk about the portal, what if any fallout there is going to be from roster sizes in college football based on House versus the NCAA, assuming we ever get an agreement. Next.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen to 99.9 The Fan every afternoon during the drive for your chance to see the Storm Surge in person. It's our annual 10K playoff payout. Try your luck at playoff tickets by finding the golden puck and take your ultimate slap shot at $10,000. Listen for the 10K playoff payout. And remember, with Ford F-150 on your team, it's game on. See your Carolina Ford dealer today.
The Body Armor State Games are coming to Greensboro this June. Registration is open to athletes of all ages and skill levels in 20 different sports. The Body Armor State Games feature 11,000 athletes and 600 teams. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Visit bodyarmorstategames.org today. The Body Armor State Games are proud to partner with Truist, Lowe's Foods, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
Struggling to get the sleep treatment you need? I'm Megan Giggling, General Manager of Parkway Sleep Health Centers. You shouldn't have to wait for better sleep. Our streamlined process provides for sleep studies, CPAP machines, and supplies, without the long delays you'll find at other sleep centers. At Parkway Sleep, we'll help you get good rest faster, and with the care you deserve.
With over 20 years of experience, join countless satisfied customers who have discovered the Parkway Sleep difference. Visit us today at parkwaysleep.com. Parkway Sleep Health Centers. Sound sleep, sound health.
At Diamonds Direct, we believe luxury is an experience and not a price tag. Luxury is expert guidance. It's the selection of 10 jewelry stores under one roof. It's saving time on endless comparison shopping, and you'll only find this experience at Diamonds Direct. Our luxury showroom has it all backed by our lifetime warranties and our signature best price guarantee. Diamonds Direct is the perfect combination of luxury and value, so you don't ever have to compromise. Learn more at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Hello, Scott Forbes, head baseball coach, University of North Carolina. When it comes to choosing a dealership, I stick with Wilkinson, Chevrolet, Cadillac, Buick, GMC. Growing up in Sanford, I've been fortunate to be lifelong friends with Will Wilkinson. My family and I have been buying and having our vehicles serviced at Wilkinson for many, many years. Great service, competitive prices, and most importantly, a place you can trust. Go where I go. Go see my longtime friend Will Wilkinson at Wilkinson, Chevrolet, Cadillac, Buick, GMC.
Find what you love and love what you find. A Total Wine and More, the place to go for. Sipping rosés with seltzers on ice. All kinds of beers with more reasons for cheers. It's warm out, let's go. Our prices are low on all our beers and wines. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly, B21.
Doesn't the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club give the best massages?
I've never felt so relaxed.
Thanks to this month's scratch-offs, this is our life now.
It's like winning again and again and again.
This month's scratch-offs pack over $150 million in total prizes. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 1 to 3.8 to 9.88. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
Bring spring to your door with Target Circle 360. Get all you need for Easter hosting, spring get-togethers, and more with unlimited same-day delivery through Target Circle 360. From Easter basket goodies to fresh florals, getting everything the same day is easy. Open the Target app and bring the magic of the season to your door with unlimited unlimited same-day delivery through Target Circle 360. Visit target.com/circle or the Target app for more details. Subscription required. Same-day delivery is subject to terms. Applies to orders over $35.
This is Adam Gold.
He said he could talk about his golf game. He did say it wasn't great, and I said, hey, no judgment here. I'm a drive shacker and a putt-putter myself.
None of us are good. Even those of us that are good aren't really good.
Right, yeah.
We're just not.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. The man himself, Chip Patterson, Chipolytics on a Wednesday, as we welcome in the moderator of the Cover 3 podcast from CBSSports.com. I said I did a promotion for today's show, and I said we would discuss the 46,000 words that you had to write on each ACC starting quarterback, but I lied.
That's called false advertising, Adam. It's not a good way to create client-customer trust.
They just need to know that you're coming on, Chip.
Sure.
That's
sure,
really so you know what really moves me about college sports. It's the other stuff. It's not necessarily – I love the games, but I like the other stuff more. So I just want to get your thoughts on what do you feel like the impact of House – especially with Judge Wilkin saying, you know what, maybe you should grandfather in and slowly shrink roster size. What do you think the fallout is going to be when it comes to scholarships and roster size across major college football?
Well, I will say it's been a learning experience for me. At Nebraska, you've got as many as 40 walk-ons.
Right.
You know, a typical number is probably closer to 15, 20 to 25. The idea that they would be out, just sort of out on the street at the end of this is something that I think a lot of people, especially those who've played the game, have really voiced their, disappointment in. I think a 4-year phase out period is something that is sensible. And I think that, hearing that be one thing that Judge Wilkins is really focused on kind of surprised me. I thought that we'd have more discussion about the clearinghouse and about fair market value and about how in the world
we absolutely will have discussions about that.
Yeah, I mean, those to me seem like the things that require the most amount of discussion, debate, and finalizing before we move forward into this new world of revenue sharing in college athletics. The roster size seems to cut to a lot of the heart of college sports, but for me, the head part of it is exactly how you are going to have these debates is, for example, High Point University, right? High Point University might be able to make an argument that for, a High Point University athlete, fair market value might be one thing, while somebody in an office in Deloitte in Chicago looks at High Point University and doesn't think there's any value.
Mm-hmm.
Someone in an office at Deloitte in Chicago, apologies to Deloitte. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's fine.
To shoot a stray here. But they might look at a UCLA athlete and say, oh, Los Angeles, fair market value, when no one around Los Angeles knows anything about UCLA football. It's just
what a shot. You're taking shots at UCLA football.
Yes, I am. Your value in Ames, Iowa, as Rocco Beck, starting quarterback for the Iowa State Cyclones, is more than it is if you are competing for the starting quarterback job at UCLA right now.
Right, absolutely.
And so I just those are the things that I think I'm anxious to see if we get any clarity on the roster size discussions, which ultimately seem to be the hang up and why we have still not pushed this thing through. That seems to be more of the play into the heartstrings type stuff.
I chuckled when it was clear that the NCAA attorneys and the Power Five pushed back on that, and basically told the judge, we're not changing that. They're going to have to, although she might approve it anyway. There are a couple of things about what you said, because just because the judge wants to grandfather these, the numbers in and have a gradual step down to 105, the counter argument to getting rid of walk-ons is that a good number of these walk-ons, as many as 20 maybe, will be scholarship players.
Right, because we currently have 85 as the scholarship limit.
Right, so that is the counter-argument to that, whereas the objections to this is more about opportunity rather than who pays the freight for something like this. I found it amazing that we were going to have one entity, Deloitte, basically going through every NIL deal. How are they possibly going to do that?
Yep. Yeah.
That is the perfect answer. The
right,
answer
yeah,
is, of course,
I know.
Right.
Again, there's the emotional heartstrings. Think of the walk-ons, and I will tell you that my ears will perk up a lot more when we start to get to this second part of it, because I think I've just told you, but I have heard both in press conferences and also in discussions the ground being laid for fair market value.
Yeah, come on.
You know? And what this player means to this university. I mean, you really can't put a number on it.
Well,
and I swear that it's like when I hear these quotes and I'm like, oh, you're already playing the game.
Right.
And you're playing the game so that you can win the bidding war and not have your NIL deal called into question. Because even with a clearinghouse for the very best players, it will still be bidding wars that will reach astronomical levels, as bidding wars tend to do, and then it will be circle back afterwards to justify whatever the price is.
And your value is really what somebody is willing to pay for you.
Right.
That's really what your market value is, and especially if you get two entities who are willing to pay a certain whatever for you. The fact that they want to make it true NIL is a joke to me. Ultimately, I think we're going to have the schools paying players and collectives also paying players, and maybe that's the way it was always supposed to end up. But every time I read what's going on in this hearing and these hearings, there are parts of it, like every few paragraphs, where I go, "Wow, wouldn't collective bargaining help?"
Yeah. Well,
it's never going to do it.
So some places I think are taking this internally and just saying, like, we're just not going to play the game. Wake Forest head coach Jake Dickert, I heard him describing the way that they've laid out their revenue sharing plan for their football team. And, they've got slots. Then he even compared it to, rookie wage scale.
Right.
We are going to say, if you are this type of player, you're going to be in this category. This type of player, you're in this category. It's production. It's where you are on the depth chart. Like, if you are a productive reserve, you get this. If you are a not productive reserve, you get this. If you are a not productive starter, you get this. If you are a productive starter, you get this. And then, and this is where I think to your point, then he said, and then there are going to be those ones at the top that are exceptions. And I think this is going to be the case at a lot of places that are just trying to move ahead with this and wrap their mind around having an actual salary cap. Places like Wake Forest that are used to really having just to worry about scholarship counts and scholarship caps more than salary caps. The exceptions are going to be where sort of your NIL come in. So if I'm constructing a football roster, I've got an idea of a salary cap that is based off revenue sharing. And then depending on where I am in the food chain, how many really, really good players I have, that's how many exceptions I have. And the exceptions are where you lean on NIL to take it over the top.
Well, let me ask you this question. It'll be a final question about this before we gotta talk about the Masters a little bit. If you're Wake Forest, you have a small stadium, the chances of you being really good in football don't really matter. The ACC is not going to kick you out. Why don't you throw a lot of your money into basketball and try to be really good at basketball? And why wouldn't other schools like that take the same approach?
Well, I can't use Wake Forest directly, especially on this unprecedented statewide platform. There are far too many Wake Forest fans, and Wake Forest is an exception. Smallest Power 5 enrollment. Like the some of the success that they've had, ACC championship, ACC runner-up finish just a couple years ago, like true Haley's Comet type stuff.
Yep.
What they have achieved in college football, the sustained level of success, bowl game wins against Texas A&M under Dave Clark, like All of that stuff is far, far exceeding the expectations based on everything on paper. So instead, I'm going to take you to a school in the big bad SEC.
Okay.
And I'm going to show you the reverse, because SEC is supposedly greatest basketball conference in the history of man, right?
Mm-hmm.
James Naismith wished he was in the SEC. Texas A&M's hiring of Bucky McMillan, to me, was punting on trying to be good in basketball.
Okay.
I think that we are going to see more of that. I think we are going to see, whether it's basketball or football to basketball, I think we're going to look at it with the hires. I don't think the hire of Jake Dickert was punting on football.
Well, I'm not saying it was. I'm just saying.
Right. But that's I think that what you're going to see it is with the coaching hires,
right,
and the investment, the staffing investment overall. That's going to be where you start to see, things declared one way or the other. Because when Buzz Williams left to go to Maryland, Texas A&M could have gotten a sitting power conference coach if it wanted to, and it didn't want to bad enough. You had a relationship with Fred Hoiberg, who's at Nebraska. Former Nebraska athletic director Trev Alberts is at Texas A&M.
That's right.
The Nebraska men's basketball Twitter account over the weekend posted a photo of Fred Hoiberg on the phone on the private jet. Like you end up getting Samford's coach, who is innovative, sure, but cheap and innovative is how Texas A&M has decided it's going to try to win in college basketball, a pesky, frisky underdog. And so to bring it back to Wake Forest, if we see Wake Forest try to become the pesky, frisky underdog and not investing in football, not, hiring coaches that meet the qualifications and the standard that has been set by Jim Grobe and Dave Clawson, then I think you can say that they are perhaps starting to make those kinds of decisions. I think Jake Dickert was a really, really good coach. And while he was certainly looking for a life raft to get out of Washington State, right, given how far the Cougs had fallen with the way the Pac-12 broke up, he's still a head coach that was on a watch list for other power conference jobs. And so I don't think that's lowering your standards with that hire. Maybe things change moving forward, but that'll be where I start to see schools declare their intent one way or the other.
Chip Patterson, Cover 3 podcast moderator, CBSSports.com. Before we move on to the Chipalytics for this upcoming week, I want to thank you for reminding me who the head football coach was at Wake Forest, Jake Dickert. I wrote it down, so I will not forget. All right.
The man who found Cam Ward.
It's pretty good. He was like at like a small school in Texas, right?
Incarnate Word.
Right. Okay. Yes, which is now a Division I school across the board. Question for you: the Chipalytics. Do all of the Chipalytics point to Scotty Scheffler?
No. Have you heard his interviews?
A little bit. I heard somebody ask him about ravioli.
Well, he's
which
calling
I find it hysterical.
Hey, he's calling them allergies. I don't know, man.
He was very stuffy. I listened to him yesterday. I'm like, what's wrong with Scotty?
Yeah. I don't know, man. Our boy might have the sniffles. I mean, listen, many have tried to get out there amongst the pollen and be able to navigate that and have a clear head. It's a good thing he's won the daggum thing twice, so
right,
maybe he can win it with his eyes closed, because they might be puffy and shut. A Scotty, a John Rahm,
right?
Like there are some places, but I'll tell you where the Chipalytics are pointing.
Okay, let's hear it.
They're pointing to the guy who closed down the course yesterday. They're pointing to the guy who is chasing Max Homa's living record of most balls hit on the driving range. Bryson DeChambeau.
Yeah. Look, I said before, I think he's going to be a major factor here. I think he's going to be a major factor in every major. He was right there last year until Saturday at 15.
Yep.
And I don't remember the number he posted. It was, I think, a 7, but he was right of the green in 2, and then he made a mess of it from right there. Look, anybody can make a mess of 15.
But then did he even follow it up with chipping in at 18?
He might have, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. He could have won 3 majors last year. He had that good a year. You could argue he maybe should have won the PGA, right? From where he was late. I think Xander Schauffele is going to have everything to say with who wins this too. I don't really care what has happened going forward. In the last, say, month, he's played full events the last few weeks. His iron play screams major contender here. I mean, he's as good as anybody, maybe the best not named Scheffler right now, and from like 175 to 225 yards out with an iron. I mean, he's as good as anybody there. So why wouldn't he be coming up on your Chipalytics?
Well, I tell you what, I'm not looking at anybody, and this is not intentional. It's just as I'm sitting here looking at my board and we're talking about it, I don't think we will have a first-time major winner. I think whoever wins the Masters this year has at least one major championship already to their name.
So we get rid of Ludwig Oberg?
Yep.
Oh, man. Colin Morikawa.
He's got 2 majors.
Right. No. I'm going back to the guys who have won majors. Has Rory won a major, Chip?
A couple. Yeah, several even.
I don't know, man. It's been a minute.
The Colin aspect is really fun to talk about coming out of the NCAA tournament, because Colin Morikawa at the Masters, or at least Colin Morikawa right now, feels a little bit like UVA basketball ascending under Tony Bennett, where Tony Bennett just kept saying, if I've got a team good enough and we just keep showing up and we are just a top 4 seed after a top 4 seed after a top 4 seed, then eventually things are going to break our way. And in 2019, things broke their way. And so for Colin, and look, he's got multiple major championships. It's not like he needs any affirmation on where he stands, but all of this good golf followed by the inability to finish. The other side, if he can't finish, is that he's always in the mix to win. Yeah. And so I love that form. If you want to talk about opening up that FanDuel Sportsbook where you can make every moment more, like any kind of Colin top 5s, Colin top 10s, all those are green light go. But I'm not going to be picking him to win, even though I know he is very capable of it.
He is an ACC legend, Colin Morikawa.
Go Bears.
Absolutely.
Did you see we have Cal football booster drama?
Well, Cal is like, guys are withholding money until Ron Rivera is essentially put in charge of Cal football, like Andrew Luck is in charge of Stanford football. You and I haven't talked about that.
Amazing.
I think it's awesome that Stanford has essentially treated their football program like a pro program by Andrew Luck. You're the GM. You have the power to hire and fire the coach. That's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. And it also makes me wonder where Jim Tanner sits in the org chart over at North Carolina, because we are setting new grounds. We are having new standards. Is the general manager hired by the head coach or the university?
What do you think it is in Carolina football?
That is Lombardi reporting to Belichick.
Yes, exactly.
Actually, I think Belichick got it. Hold on. I think Belichick got it in his contract, which he just signed 4 hours ago from everything I've heard. I think Belichick got it in his contract that he doesn't even report to Lee Roberts. I think Chancellor Lee Roberts reports to him. I think it's not even called the old well anymore. It's just the old Bill.
Belichick reports to Jordan.
Right.
That's it. That's all we need to know. Yeah. She is in charge. My gosh, that's just too good. You made me laugh. You made me cry. Right? Who's your pick? I forgot who it was. Who was your
Bryson.
pick? Bryson. Yeah.
Bryson. Yeah. And the general card, the way that I'm kind of building things out are support for Scotty, support for Colin, Bryson. You've got I like a little JT to play well here.
Really?
Would not pick.
He is way higher on the board than I would have thought, considering he hasn't really played consistently well in a couple of years.
Here, especially, right?
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So, and then a little bit further down, like myself a little Sepp Straka, like myself a little Russell Henley.
I love Russell Henley. I like Akshay Bhatia.
Don't hate that. Like myself a little Corey Connors, Shane Lowry.
Can you see all the names I have written here? Henley.
Hey, how about this?
Neiman, Connors, Lowry, Fitzpatrick, Akshay.
What about top debutante?
Top debutante. I haven't thought about top. What about the Joe Highsmith?
With the hat? Like
24-year-old wearing that hat. Get out of here.
Mav McNeely. Let's go.
Okay. He's played well.
He's played well recently.
All right. By the way, no mention of Rory. You don't like Rory. I will have no tickets on Rory. I promise.
Yeah,
No.
I think that's an opportunity where I'm happy to be late.
Exactly. If he wins this one, I will bet he wins the next 3.
Just rolls them off. Did you go back and look when I told you to look at the elbow comment?
Yeah, he's fine. Okay. He's fine. Sandbagging. Chip Patterson, CBSSports.com, Cover 3 podcast moderator. My friend, I appreciate your time.
Sounds good. Y'all be well.
You got it. All right, when we come back, we'll stretch and place bets. I am. No tickets. I will have 0 tickets on Rory. But when we place bets, I will have Masters picks. Next.
Talking sports, dropping truth. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Adam Gold here from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and a sports book unlike any other. It's the first major of the year in Augusta. That's right. Pinky out. Hoity-toity. And we are giving new customers $250 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 wager. This is how it's done. Win that first $5 bet, take $250 of their money, and flood the zone. Rory's going to win. Will Zalatoris is going to be in the top 10. FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel.com/AGS. America's #1 sportsbook. Swing for some green at Augusta. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
From the mountains to the coast, there is tremendous pride in North Carolina agriculture. NC Forever Farms is a program recognizing family farms that are protecting precious working lands vital to the future of agriculture. Through permanent agricultural conservation easements, these NC Forever Farms will always be protected from development. Learn more about preserving family farms through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services by visiting ncadfp.org.
This April, join North Carolina Realtors in celebrating Fair Housing Month. Fair housing means everyone deserves a place to call home, regardless of race, color, national origin, religion, sex, or disability. NC Realtors are committed to fair housing for all North Carolinians and ensuring that everyone has access to safe and affordable housing. Let's work together to create communities where everyone can thrive. Visit ncrealtors.org to learn more about fair housing. Paid for by NC Realtors.
The North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services is looking for people age 21 or older to volunteer in long-term care facilities. Community Advisory Committee volunteers help residents and their families advocate for the needs of individuals living in long-term care facilities, such as nursing homes, assisted living facilities, and family care homes. Volunteers must complete orientation and training to become designated and certified representatives of the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program. Visit ncdhhs.gov/aging to find your county's ombudsman.
Do you know someone who's lost a loved one to overdose? Every day, the disease of addiction is taking lives and devastating families. But this crisis is preventable. Join the Governor's Institute in the Be a Superhero in the Overdose Battle campaign. Together, we can spread awareness, fight stigma, and save lives. Learn the signs of overdose. Know how to help. Visit governorsinstitute.org/superhero today, because doing nothing shouldn't be an option. Be a hero. Take action. Save a life.
The Body Armor State Games are coming to Greensboro this June. Registration is open to athletes of all ages and skill levels in 20 different sports. The Body Armor State Games feature 11,000 athletes and 600 teams. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Visit bodyarmorstategames.org today. That's bodyarmorstategames.org. The Body Armor State Games are proud to partner with Truist, Lowe's Foods, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
Did you know that since you have public power, your electricity is operated and controlled by people in your community, not by a for-profit investor-owned company? These local folks are directly accountable to you. They don't answer to shareholders. They make decisions for the good of your community. What's more, your public power provider invests in your community, providing jobs and supporting your local economy. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
This is Adam Gold.
Thank you very much for your time, man. We will talk again.
Adam, anytime for you, my friend.
Thank you. I don't know why it makes me laugh. Why does that make me laugh?
I don't know. Maybe you just are used to people being mean to you or something, like Twitter. I don't know.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. Next hour, Tripp Tracy will join us. We will talk about the latest Hurricanes loss. This one in Buffalo last night, 3-0. This time of year, I said this before the game. I've said it earlier today. I think people underestimate just how difficult it is to flip the switch back on after you have accomplished something. In a sport, especially the way the Hurricanes play, it's kind of hard just to go, okay, let's get back to doing that. It'll happen. And when it happens, Carolina will look like we all think Carolina should look. Right now, they're really at the mercy of how well their goalie plays. And in these 3 games, they have not gotten good goalie play. I thought the worst of the goalie play was actually Freddie in Boston, but I also don't think Kochetkov was any good in Detroit. And the goal that he gave up at the end of the second period on shorthanded, I thought was really a dagger in the game. But we'll talk to Tripp Tracy about where we are with 5 left to play. That's it. Washington tomorrow, Rangers and Toronto at home Saturday and Sunday. Next 2 games, by the way, nationally televised, so radio only if you want to hear Mike and Tripp. And then they close out the season in Montreal and in Ottawa. Right now, it's time to stretch.
Okay, well, there's a new trend, if you want to call it a trend. I don't know how well this is going to stick this summer, but maybe at your next barbecue or cookout or whatever you prefer to call it, you might see a hot dog tower.
What?
So it's exactly like it sounds. I don't know if you've ever seen these, how there's like towers of food. So it's kind of like fondue. There's different levels. Or this article referred to it as like seafood towers. Well, seafood's too expensive. Everything is too expensive. So they're going to hot dogs. What they're going to do is basically either with the multi-tiered serving platter, they say you could do this for your party. Feel free to take this idea. Be extra fancy. With your cookouts, you could have 3 tiers of different kinds of hot dogs, or maybe you have fries on one level, hot dogs on one, and condiments on the other. So who knows? This is ridiculous. And of course, a place in South Carolina called Sereners is taking responsibility for the trend. They partnered with a quote upscale place called Lamar's last fall, and they added said hot dog tower to the menu. So I guess that's where this all came from. But the owner of Sir Wieners said that they just love it.
Sir Wieners. I'm sorry.
They just love it because it's over the top and it's a perfect mix of ridiculous and delicious. So I don't know. To each their own, I guess. I don't know if I will be making a hot dog tower, but you know, you might see that at your next hot dog or your next cookout place, and it'll all make sense then. You know what else might make sense?
We should all have a hot dog tower.
I know. You know, we should. And we should also have great bets.
Place your bets. Place your bets. Here we are. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me.
I owe you nothing.
All right. I had Francisco Lindor anytime home run yesterday.
Oh,
the Mets
look
won
at you
10-5. Lindor was the only home run hitter.
Heck yeah. Look at that. I got my Canadians in under 5.5.
Good. There you go.
So that was plus 235. The other ones got the right teams, wrong over unders. So that's a big L.
Yeah. It's all right. All right. Lead us off.
What's not going to be a big L is me watching UFC at the wedding that I'm going to this weekend. And that's
You're
good.
not in the wedding, though,
Oh,
right?
no,
Okay.
I'm good. I'll be sitting at the table drinking whatever, cold beverage while I'm watching this, in a dress. So starting things off, UFC 314. Of course, it would be a great card. Dan Ige versus Sean Woodson is going to be one of the matches. On the prelims, give me Dan Ige. He's just a straight underdog, but this guy is fierce. So he is plus 135.
All right. I like it. Finish your card.
Okay. Next up, I love Jim Miller. He is a dog, but he's going up against Chase Hooper. So that's not going to be good because Chase is 25 and Jim is 41. He will go the whole distance, but Chase is going to win this one. Right now, Chase is a favorite by minus 850. I can't see a method of victory yet, but I would say go the distance. So whatever that's going to be when the fight gets closer, go the distance, Chase. I think that's going to be the case. And then last but not least, Yair Rodriguez versus Patricio Pitbull. Give me Yair Rodriguez because both these guys are going to go the distance, but he's going to win by the points, so plus 140.
All right. Here we're going to do an array of masters here. First round leader, plus 3,000, Justin Thomas. First round leader. Top 5, I'll give you 2. Xander Schauffele at plus 320. John Rahm at plus 250. Top 10, Corey Connors at plus 250. Akshay Bhatia plus 410. Go Raleigh. Top 20, Michael Kim plus 270. Lucas Glover plus 290. Your winner plus 2,000. Bryson DeChambeau. I have no tickets on Rory. I will let that euphoria be organic.
Making more sports sense than social media trolls. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Adam Gold here from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and the time is nigh. It is Augusta time. And new customers can get $250 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 wager. So quickly, win something today, and let's get cracking with their money at Augusta. How about this bet? Win or without. So exclude Rory McIlroy and Scotty Scheffler, and then pick the guy you think is going to finish best other than those two. How about John Rahm at plus 1,100? He won here a couple of years ago. Ludwig Oberg, big pick to win this one. Bryson DeChambeau, plus 1,400. FanDuel.com/AdamGold. FanDuel.com/AdamGold. 4, please. Now wagering. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
If Heineken Silver was a 60-second radio ad, it'd tell you all the stuff you need to know in only 30 seconds to keep things light and refreshing. Seriously, time me. Heineken Silver, a world-class light beer that's surprisingly crisp and refreshing. Made with only premium quality ingredients and just 2.9 grams of carbs and 95 calories. All without compromising on taste. Heineken Silver. Order now at Heineken.com/silver. Must be 21 and older to purchase. Enjoy Heineken responsibly. Whew. 30 seconds. That's it. Done. Peace.
Keeping your engines healthy means protecting them in season and out. Experts trust Stable to do that. And third-party testing confirms it. Stable is the industry leader in preventing fuel-related issues, no matter if you use it in your car, boat, or outdoor power equipment. In season or out, at every fill-up or when you store, start with Stable.
As a fan, you know all the important sports cliches. And when you save money by bundling your home and auto with Progressive, you can get out there and give it 110%, even though that's mathematically impossible. And remember, failure is not an option. Well, it's always an option, just not a good one. But you're not worried because you've got ice in your veins. You're on fire. How can both of those things be true at the same time? Well, that's between you and your doctor. So get out there and leave it all on the field. Leave what? Who cares? Just leave it and save with a bundle from Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers. Not available in all states or situations.
Celebrate 50 years of adventure at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. Enjoy award-winning performances and European-inspired attractions. Feel the excitement of thrilling rides, like the all-new Big Bad Wolf, The Wolf's Revenge. There's fun for the whole family. From conquering first rides to exploring immersive lands, there's always something worth celebrating. Only at the world's most beautiful theme park. Save up to 35% on tickets, fun cards, and memberships during our flash sale. Hurry, offer ends soon. Restrictions apply.
If only life had a remote control, you could pause or rewind. Well, life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. Take the 1-minute risk test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Barbecue season is back. Hey, it's Ellen.
And this is Sarah Beth.
And a little thing we love about the Chick-fil-A Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich is that zesty barbecue sauce. I love that it was a little sweet, a little tangy, and with the mac and cheese,
I feel like I tasted the brown sugar bacon first. It was the absolute best combination. Pro tip, 3 sandwiches are always better than 1.
Order the Smokehouse Barbecue Bacon Sandwich and a Coca-Cola on the Chick-fil-A app for a limited time. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score! Broadcasting live from the Lenovo Studios. WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. 99.9 The Fan. The Triangle Sports Leader.
You're listening to The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Working around, Morrow with a chance. Robina, he scores! Justin Robina, his first NHL goal. The Canes break the shutout. And for Robina, he'll keep that one forever.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria on the 1s and 2s. Feels like it's been a minute since the Hurricanes have won, doesn't it?
It has been a minute.
So I opened the Storm Watch yesterday with the reality that the Hurricanes clinched a playoff spot against Washington, right? And that was a week ago today. Here, last Wednesday, Hurricanes wrapped up a 4-game homestand by, beating up the Capitals. Literally beating up the Capitals. And it seemed like it was just a matter of hours almost that the Hurricanes would also clinch the next step, which is making sure that they are on home ice to open the first round of the playoffs. And we're still there.
Yeah.
The magic number was 3. Before last night, it was still 3 because the Devils only played once between Thursday and last night. They only played Saturday against the Devils and won that game. So the Devils got a maximum number of points from their game, and the Hurricanes got nothing out of their game, so it stayed at 3. And last night, Boston jumps out to a 3-2 lead over New Jersey in Newark. And I know Tripp was talking about it on the broadcast, and it was scoreless after 1. And then, mistake, sort of mistake. I thought it was an unfortunate, a bad break for Jackson Blake more than anything, in that a puck that was an aerial flip, I think, from Slavin, and he just kind of knocked it down, and it didn't carry forward momentum like you would have thought. It stopped, so Blake overskates it. Tage Thompson takes it the other way. Slavin doesn't gap up properly, and all of a sudden it's past Kochetkov and it's 1-0. That was early in the second period. Then the shorthanded goal, happened at the end of the second period, and Carolina's, man, I don't know if we're going to be able to find 2 goals against Buffalo. Carolina going through a little bit of a funk here. But ultimately, they're going through this funk because they really haven't played their game. They created enough chances last night to probably get a goal or 2, but not to get 4. And ultimately, they were going to need 4 to win the game last night. All right, are we ready for the Wall of Sound?
The Wall of Sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
All right, let's just start with some Rod Brindamore, just a little bit of Rod, and then we will go on to some NBA and some House versus the NCAA stuff in a roundabout way. All right, let's start with Rod Brindamore about the goaltender, Pyotr Kochetkov. Thoughts?
Well, he battled. The second one's probably shouldn't go in. There's not much that guy can do but put it there. So that one was tough. It's a good play by them, but we got to have that at that point probably. But, can't put it on him. We don't score any goals. It's really irrelevant.
Should have had the goal, the breakaway, the Alex Tuck goal that made it 2-0. But the last part of that is the most true. It's like it doesn't really matter if you score 0. He could have given up 9 bad goals. It still wouldn't have been on him because you didn't score any. If the Hurricanes had scored 2, then you could have gone, yeah, we needed better. They need better anyway. All right, one more from Rod, and then we will move on. The Hurricanes have lost 3 straight. I don't know which game they played the best in. They probably played the best in the first one, in the Detroit one. Now, they made a ton of mistakes in that game. They made fewer mistakes in this one. But in terms of being more on top of their game, I think against Detroit they were probably better. They just had moments in that game that were bad, and the goaltending was clearly not good enough. But do these 3 games seem the same to Rod?
Yeah, you're right. They're looking a little similar. It's not terrible, but it's we got to score some goals. Obviously, that's been the deal here. It's not giving. We gave up too much early. I thought quality. It wasn't a ton, but it was quality, and you can't do that to a team like that. They got some real snipers, and you saw it. They just put it in their net. So then you get behind, and then kind of we're chasing a little bit, trying to do a little too much. And that's what happens when you're not scoring. You start pressing a little bit, and that's clearly what's happening.
All right, let me get to the firing of Michael Malone, the head coach of the Denver Nuggets, which came out of nowhere yesterday. I saw some comments about something like that on Twitter. I'm like, hey, what? And then, I went to ESPN's website and holy cow, they fired Michael Malone. ESPN's insider, NBA insider, the new Woj, Shams Charania, on why this happened.
This is stunning because we're just days away from the end of the regular season, days away from the start of the NBA playoffs. This is tied with Hubie Brown in 1980-81 season for the deepest into a regular season we've seen a coach get fired. Michael Malone is the winningest coach in Denver Nuggets franchise history. He led that organization to a 2023 NBA championship. And the Nuggets, from my understanding, just believed that they needed a full culture reset. There's been something of a Cold War brewing between both Malone and Booth over the last couple of years. And Malone is really the established coach in place there. And now the fact that he is out, it is stunning across the NBA.
It's amazing to me. Kendrick Perkins from ESPN thinks it has everything to do with Denver's best player.
That joy hasn't been there for him, right? We've been seeing signs of frustration. And he's so talented that he could still play through all that and put up whip-type numbers. But imagine Jokic playing with that joy and that happiness again. And here's another thing, right? This firing doesn't happen without the okay from Nikola Jokic. And I know reports are probably going to continue to come out. I know this is fresh, but it's nowhere in hell you can make me believe with a player to that stature that he didn't have anything or say in far as Michael Malone being fired. I said the same thing when Mike Budenholzer was let go from the Milwaukee Bucks. I said the same thing when it came down to Darvin Ham getting let go from the Los Angeles Lakers. The players have a say, especially when you're talking about best players in the world, superstar caliber players. And guess what? It's okay.
I mean, look, I get it. I think it can be characterized two ways. As the way Kendrick Perkins said, the best players have a say. I think you run things by your best players. But they shouldn't make your decision for you. But I think it's fair to say, hey, Nikola, or hey, LeBron, what do you think if we moved on from this guy? Would that be okay? And LeBron could go, I think you're stupid for doing that. Could do that. I mean, some of these guys have been around a long time. They get it. They understand what's up. All right, one more thing, and this comes from the House versus the NCAA settlement. Actually, that is not necessarily related to the settlement. It's Chris Jenkins, who hit the shot for Villanova that beat North Carolina in 2016. Right after Marcus Page hit that ridiculous shot to tie the game as the Tar Heels, I think, rallied from like a 10-point deficit late to tie the game against the Wildcats. Chris Jenkins, who was like the stepbrother of a Tar Heel player, I think, hits a three-pointer from the right wing to win it at the buzzer. Jenkins, who would have been eligible to get money from the settlement, opted out and picked up filed his own lawsuit. And here's why he opted out and why he is going to sue the NCAA.
I decided to do that just because after going over with my legal team, it just wasn't fair compensation for me. And I don't have anything against the gentlemen and the young women who've opted in, but just for my fair, full market value and the full compensation that I should get, I just felt like opting into the House just wasn't in my best interest. I'm pretty sure they tried to give me maybe $4,000 over a 10-year period, which I feel like we all can agree is just extremely disrespectful and just not right. So taking things into my own matter and doing it the right way with my legal team, and we'll have our day.
Think about that. Think about a high-profile player getting, seriously. Therein lies the problem with this type of a settlement. Jenkins, on the reality of what college athletes really are, and that is full-time employees.
If somebody gives you an agreement and this is the only avenue for you to continue to try to better yourself and better your family, and they know that this is the only opportunity for you, they're putting you in a situation where it's either this way or no way. It's either sign this or you can't do that. And to do that to a young kid coming fresh out of high school, it's illegal, it's wrong. And everyone knows that. Everyone knows that. So to just be told to, just take this and be quiet and be thankful and go away, well, that's just not how business and work works here in America. When you work your job, you want to be fully compensated for everything that you've done. And being a student college athlete is a full-time job.
Yep, it is. It is, two things. One, if college sports didn't generate the billions of dollars in revenue that it does, this wouldn't be an issue. Just wouldn't be an issue. If we rolled back the clocks 20 years and it was generating money, but not a ton of money, not what it is here, then this would not be a problem. We would still be going along with business as usual. Athletes would be, secretly given $100 handshakes like happened. Parents would, mysteriously receive, kitchen appliances and whatnot to help convince your son or daughter, whatever, to go to a school. That stuff would still go on kind of innocently, and we'd just move on. But that's not the reality. And then you couple that with the fact that the NCAA has been pretending that amateurism is like the best thing in the world. and the refusal to allow players for years their true value. Had the NCAA just said, you know what, we think these guys should be allowed to make money while they're in school. We don't have to pay you, but hey, we can find third parties to pay you. And they pushed back against that for decades. That's why we're here. We call that, I believe in the South, we call that comeuppance. Nobody, yeah, exactly. Nobody more into colloquialisms. Never mind. Tripp Tracy's going to join us when we come back. What is wrong, if anything, with the Hurricanes? Next.
Chapel Hill to Charlotte, Greenville to Greensboro. Your sports, his state. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Golf's first major will be found on 99.9 The Fan. Listen all week long as we cover golf's lasting tradition, the Masters. Find out if Scotty Scheffler can run it back at Augusta or if a new champion emerges. Depend on us for constant leaderboard updates and every big moment through the presentation of the Champion's Jacket. Coverage of the Masters on 99.9 The Fan is teed up by Treyburn Country Club, the Triangle's golf escape.
Interest rates have plummeted. It's time to call Loan Pronto. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. If you're looking to get cash out of your home equity, refinance out of a high rate, or do a home improvement project, Loan Pronto can make it happen in a matter of days. Take advantage of this opportunity and get tens or even hundreds of thousands out of your home equity. Pay off all your credit cards. Pay off your car loans. The average homeowner cuts their monthly bills by $1,000. Get more info at loanpronto.com. Inflation and higher costs have put a lot of people in a stressful financial situation. But if you own a home, there's a way out. Loan Pronto has multiple options that can help you get the financial freedom you deserve. Most homeowners get their cash in less than 2 weeks, and most don't even need an appraisal. Do the smart thing. Stop paying insane rates on those credit cards. Wipe them all out. Get a lower mortgage rate. Get some money for that home improvement project. It all starts by getting in contact with the experts at this, Loan Pronto. LoanPronto.com or call 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
Child abuse. It happens in all communities. Learning to spot the signs of abuse and knowing how to report it can save a child's life. Children's Advocacy Centers of North Carolina supports over 50 centers statewide, providing hope and healing to young victims of abuse, neglect, and trauma. Join us in the fight against child abuse. Visit cacnc.org to learn more. That's cacnc.org.
At Diamonds Direct, our experts go the extra mile to ensure you have the tools to say I do with absolute confidence. Our promise to you is a completely risk-free shopping experience rooted in transparency, education, and integrity. No pressure, no intimidation, just clarity and confidence in your purchase. But we're about more than just price. Everything is backed by our exclusive guarantees. Put our tools to the test against any competitor, and our expert staff will ensure you get the very best overall value and unforgettable experience. Learn more at diamondsdirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Joint pain in your knees, shoulders, or lower back. It can stop you in your tracks. At DaVita Med Spa and Wellness, we offer a revolutionary course of treatment that can eliminate your joint pain and have you back to your old self in no time. Our regenerative therapies actually help repair damaged tissue to eliminate the pain without risky invasive surgery. If you suffer with joint pain and have been told your only options are medications, steroid injections, or surgery, DaVita Med Spa and Wellness offers non-surgical solutions using your body's own cells with minimal downtime and long-lasting results. Experience personalized, compassionate medical care at its best. Call our office now and see how you can get real, long-lasting relief from joint pain through regenerative medicine and the medical experts at DaVita Med Spa and Wellness, spelled DVIDA. Call 984-333-1313. That's 984-333-1313. 984-333-1313.
Dennis Cox here for my friends over at Law Tigers. It's that time of year, folks. Back on the open road, taking a cruise on the motorcycle, but there's always that risk when you're on the bike. That's why you got to contact Law Tigers at 1-800-LAW-TIGERS if you're injured in a motorcycle accident, even before you contact your insurance company. Insurance companies pay the least amount possible. Law Tigers, they're riders too. They know what your bike and your gear are worth and what you're going through after an accident. 1-800-LAW-TIGERS. Law Tigers is a network of independent law firms who are members of the American Association of Motorcycle Injury Lawyers. Law Tigers is not a law firm.
This is Adam Gold.
He said he could talk about his golf game. He did say it wasn't great, and I said, hey, no judgment here. I'm a drive shacker and a putt-putter myself.
None of us are good. Even those of us that are good aren't really good.
Right, yeah.
We're just not.
Yeah.
The Adam Gold Show.
Great theme song for the Hurricanes of late. Losers of 3 in a row, but the standings look basically the same. Canes going to play tomorrow night. Actually, I don't know. The Devils don't play tonight. Anyway, right now, the Hurricanes, they're not catching Washington, although it's not mathematical. And they are probably not going to get caught by the New Jersey Devils, although right now it is not mathematical. We can still get back to watching Hurricanes play their game, and that's where I think they, for the most part, didn't get to last night. Tripp Tracy, he was on the call, FanDuel Sportsnet. The next 2 games will be radio only, and you know what that means. Tripp and I hot stove live in the Storm Watches, so I'm looking forward to that, sir. Let's dig in to what happened last night. Let's start with the forward group. Other than the Mark Jankowski line, the fourth line with Eric Robinson and Tyson Jost, was there a group that consistently got to what we would think Hurricanes hockey is, and a heavy forecheck and doing all that?
No, I would say, thinking about the game in its entirety, I thought Reimer's save down 1-0. Blake, nifty play to find Aho was his most important save of the night.
Yep.
That was a quality opportunity. But when I looked at things offensively and then reflect back, the Hurricanes having lost 3 in a row to their last win, yeah, your power play, which was disappointing last night, aside from giving up a shorthanded goal, but, and it was rip-roaring against Washington a week ago at home, but it struck me right from the get-go in that game against the Caps that leads to clinching a playoff berth of how effective the Hurricanes were in layers from their forward group to getting to the inside. And, creating real problems for Logan Thompson, who started the game before he left it. And I just didn't. When you start to think about ramping up for the playoffs, I mean, good for James Reimer, the way that he continues to extend his career, and very likable Hurricane when he was in Carolina. Yep. But when you think about the postseason and dirty, greasy, getting to the inside goals that you need a steady diet of across the board, offensively, it just wasn't there. And that's as a group. And AG, I'd be remiss. I know it's just his first game back from his most recent injury, but my level of concern right now for Andrei Svechnikov is significant.
Yeah, there wasn't really an impact in the game, but I don't know that line as a group really, had much of an impact in the game. I am probably more willing to give them a couple of games to get up to speed. I'm not sure that's maybe the best place for Andre, though. I'm not sure where the best place for Andre is right now, and maybe that's the big picture problem, right?
I see tomorrow as a massive game for Andrei Svechnikov. The reason that I say it is this. Preseason game in Washington before his rookie year. So in September, October, I can't remember when it would have been in the preseason before his rookie year when, he made an unbelievable first impression, scored 20 goals at even strength as a rookie. Preseason game, Ovechkin was in the lineup for Washington in a preseason tilt, and Svechnikov was so dynamic that you could tell it got Ovechkin's attention as the Mufasa of all Russian hockey players.
Right.
And tomorrow, I would think, is going to be an intense environment, going back to last Wednesday, going back to, like Carolina, Washington, even with the Ovechkin goal chase, their game hasn't been there.
Right.
So, that historical perspective for Svechnikov in what is going to be an intense hockey game, at least I think it's going to be, he needs to be Andrei Svechnikov tomorrow night. And, I understand giving him a couple of games, and I'm to some degree with you on that, but there weren't any of his shifts last night that I remembered them.
Right.
And when Andrei Svechnikov is the Andrei Svechnikov of previous years, you remember every one of his shifts. So I think it's a particularly important night for him tomorrow.
Yeah, it's funny. I talked with Rod before the game, as you do, and I asked him if there was a difference between, in terms of what he was looking for in the return of the two players. And I framed it like all we really need to see from Jordan Staal is knock the rust off. We know what we're going to expect, and likely what we're going to get. I said, but Andre, we got to find it. And he, I think the times of maybe protecting Andre are over, and I think that probably also bleeds down to where he's used in the forward group. It would be a given that he would probably go back on a top line. Maybe they, we didn't score, so we'll put him with Aho and Jarvis or Aho and Blake. I'm not sure Andre's going to get that benefit of the doubt right now.
I think you have to at this point. He's got to earn it. You could possibly give it a look, but I would say based upon his play, that's a gift from Rod. And the power play after it being on the rise and Hall being a big part of it. I guess that's the one other thing you could do is float him in there as lefty for lefty. We'll probably see a lot of power plays tomorrow night. But I'm sitting here looking at the TV screen, AG, and in Washington here, when my brother graduated Georgetown University, I happened to run into randomly Alan Greenspan.
Oh, wow. How about
and
that?
I said to him, and the market was very uncertain like it is right now. And I said to him, Alan, you got to turn this ship around for us, baby. And it was classic because I talked to as influential of a guy in the world for probably 3 or 4 minutes, and he said he'd get that ship pointed in the right direction. Here's my point. I am not an economist. I am the antithesis of Alan Greenspan, but you watch the screen and you hear about uncertainty. I think we are in a territorial spot with Andrei Svechnikov, if I'm just calling a spade, where it's uncertainty.
Yeah.
You mentioned the certainty of Jordan Staal. You are looking for some type of certainty with Andrei Svechnikov, because right now I think we would be remiss if we didn't say it's uncertain.
Oh, there's no question. That leads us to the other uncertainty, and normally one player would not necessarily have an effect on another player, but there is a direct correlation between Pyotr Kochetkov, even if he's the backup goalie in the playoffs, and Freddie Anderson and Carolina Hurricanes having success. Because I think we saw last year, Anderson wore down. Rod Brindamore didn't really, my read was that he didn't really trust Kochetkov in the playoffs. Otherwise, he would have used him sooner. And right now, it's hard to trust Pyotr. The breakaway goal was probably one he shouldn't have allowed. The others, I have a hard time putting on him. But, he hasn't really come up with saves at key times over his last 5 starts. What's your read on where this team is now with goaltending?
Well, my first thought is because I get it. They'll go with Anderson tomorrow. I wouldn't have. But number one, if you're fortunate enough to beat New Jersey in the first round, you play Washington, and Washington advances, you're going to start on the road. So it'll give Anderson a start in Washington tomorrow. My fear was that after he was underrated last week against the Caps, you don't want to give them the opportunity to get to him. I do think for the group tomorrow night, it's going to be very, very important to protect him, because I feel like the Caps are going to go to the net hard. Yeah. And we can only imagine if Freddie Anderson's not healthy come start of the playoffs. So I think that's going to be really important tomorrow. As far as Kochetkov goes, when I when I look at his last several starts, and it included last night, Adam, it's the things that do not exude confidence. Overhandling the puck, being too aggressive with his stick. I know you're chasing the game, but taking, moving play that leads to more chances when you should take whistles.
Yeah.
And then the big shorthanded goal. I get it. Roslovic loses a draw on the power play, and Byram makes a great play, and Burns shouldn't get beat up the ice. I'm not at all running from the fact that, Burns, after going +7 in a 4-game stretch, is -7 in his last 2.
Yeah.
But when he's harassing Alex Tuck like that on the breakaway, that goal just should not happen. But it's really his overall body of work last night that just represented searching to me. Way too antsy, especially in the puck handling department, the overuse of the stick, deciding at the last minute to come out and try to play a puck. That just does not exude confidence. So you and I, talked about the importance of the start going in. I wouldn't say that we walked away and said you're more confident with regards to trust afterwards.
No, even, the first good save he makes on Ryan McLeod, who had a hat trick the last time these two teams met in Baltimore. Like, he was off balance. He almost tripped over himself. So there was a lack of confidence there. Look, he was fortunate enough to make that save. Then he comes out to try to play the puck. He had no chance to get to it. He's lucky McLeod didn't slide it into an empty net. It was kind of a tough angle, and I'm not sure Jalen Chatfield wouldn't have gotten to it anyway because it was pretty close. But, yeah, there were a lot of strange moments from Pyotr Kochetkov last night. I thought the first goal was an unfortunate break for Jackson Blake, who knocked the puck down, and then it doesn't, there's no forward momentum on ice. It basically just kind of stopped there, so he overskates it. Tage Thompson takes it the other way, and this was Burns and Slavin on the ice. Burns was on the ice for 7 straight goals against. That's not good. What was your take on the way Slavin played that? I know he had a player behind him that he also had to kind of worry about, but it just looked like normally Slavin would have denied the shot there, and he just couldn't get back to Tage Thompson.
Well, you got a bunch of things there, and we're reading the same game as we typically do, AG. The first, the most recent thing that you said, Tage Thompson, when you look at his size and his ability to wrist the puck, I mean, this is an extremely special player now with 44 goals. And, Slavin, the majority of players, when Thompson drags it like he does, with that deceptive stick and his ability with his skating ability to be tight, would have been able to go stick on puck. And with the ramping ability of the stick, that Thompson shot probably goes innocently up into the netting above the glass. But it didn't happen. And, if we're going to talk about, Burns after going +7 in 4 games, where I thought he was playing very clean hockey and on for the last 7, as everything I'll say again is Jacob Slavin means to the Carolina Hurricanes. His last 2 games, am I concerned? No. Not even in the least, but his last 2 games have been very ordinary.
Yeah.
And that's just really last 3 when you go back to the turnover that Patrick Kane caused in the second period in Detroit. I have zero level of concern. The other part of it that I thought you're very cognizant to mention is the back pressure of Thompson and a tight gap from Dahlin. I thought really did force that turnover from Jackson Blake.
Sure.
But when people getting back to Andre and wanting to see Andre get going and speaking about Carolina systematically that it limits his creativity, that's just wrong. There was a shift in the last minute of the first period where I believe it was Jarvis that came up with the puck at the Buffalo blue line. And I'm watching Rod on the bench. You want to get out of the first period 0-0, especially with the conclusion of the game at the first period in Boston.
Mm-hmm.
And Jarvis makes a play. And it leads to Aho with a near chance, and then you're on the forecheck. And I'm watching Rod on the bench, and he had no problem with it. None. So he allows creativity. It's just within that wiggle room, you have to make sure at certain places on the ice at times in the game that you manage the puck. So as I'm calling for Andrei Svechnikov to get back to his creativity, that's on him. He has that green light with those parameters with, Rod Brindamore and the way he coaches the hockey club. In the case of Blake's turnover, I agree. I just think that Buffalo made a heck of a play, the back
Right.
pressure at Thompson, and in concert, that really good gap from Dahlin.
Yeah, and by the way, I thought Jackson Blake was at the forefront of so much of their offensive creativity, really for maybe the first 40 minutes of the game, where he was all over the place. I mean, yeah, he makes the mistake that leads to the first goal in the second period, but my gosh, the play he made to create the chance for Aho, that I know Reimer made a good save. It looked to me like Samuelson deflected the shot. That might have been a goal if it doesn't go off Buffalo's defenseman first, but Reimers does make a very good save because it was still headed in. But I think Blake's been great, and I know fans are sick and tired, like, oh, there's Gold talking about Jackson Blake again, except that this is what I see. I see him being consistently one of their best players.
You and I have both been in agreement on this, and the other layer that I would add to it is that he has shown a propensity, because teams, visiting teams, opposing teams, they know how he's playing.
Yeah.
So they are trying to finish everything they can, and I hope it continues. Adam, he has shown an ability to be able to take some heavy hits, and it doesn't bother him. And, because you've started to see some physicality, because you know the way teams, pre-scout.
Sure.
And they know the way that he's played for several months now. And that's been a layer of encouragement for me, that Jackson Blake, whether it be mentally being able to read the tea leaves and knowing when somebody's trying to crunch him. You look at that it was Montreal, when Jack-Eye tried to come across the ice solely, terrible out-of-position play, because he wanted to lower the boom in the neutral zone. He had the mental ability to know the tea leaves, make the play, I believe, to Jarvis, who then goes to Aho for a highlight reel goal. So that part of his game, too, is to be able to deal with the physicality. I hope that continues, because that's been a big positive for him.
No question. All right, tomorrow, live during Stormwatch, Canes and the Capitals should be a nice little friendly affair in D.C.
I know that technically it's a meaningless game, other than Carolina, but I don't think it's going to be played like that tomorrow.
Nope.
I think my hope is, my dear friend, is that it's going to be physical. I think I really do, and the Hurricanes are going to become that much more galvanized because of it. But my A+ number one desire is they get through it healthy.
I am looking forward to Angry Aho playing. It's my favorite Sebastian Aho, Angry Aho. I'll talk to you tomorrow, Tripp. Thank you.
I love you. Have a great day.
All right, man. Tripp Tracy here on the Adam Gold Show. It actually is exactly what the Hurricanes need, a feisty game. It will always bring out the best in them.
Yeah. Well, you see what KK did.
Well, against Buffalo.
Yeah.
Right. That was the first home game after Four Nations.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the Whalers. Not even sure what that means.
Maybe we got to bring the Whalers back.
We should. If they wore those uniforms again, I'd be all about it. KK is going to miss a week, so going to have to find somebody else maybe to drop the gloves. I'm not suggesting that they do that, but a feisty game is maybe what this team needs. There are no real stakes in this game. Nobody's sending a message. We actually don't know if these two teams are going to meet in the playoffs, because they both have to win a round, and it's not a given that they will win a round. So it's not about that. It is to me about getting back to your game. All right, we'll come back. We will rewind. The Masters starts tomorrow, less than 24 hours away. In fact, I believe it starts at 8 o'clock, 7:30, 8 o'clock tomorrow. Oh, I can't wait. Rewinding next.
Talking sports so you don't have to pretend to know stuff. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's okay not to be okay. Feelings of loneliness, anger, and worry are completely normal, and you're not alone. If you need help coping, call, text, or chat the free 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Someone is always there to talk, day or night. Together, we will find the care that works for you. Just call, text, or chat 988 anytime to talk to a trained counselor who will listen, provide support, and connect you to other resources that can help. Let's get through it together. Brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
From the mountains to the coast, there is tremendous pride in North Carolina agriculture. NC Forever Farms is a program recognizing family farms that are protecting precious working lands vital to the future of agriculture. Through permanent agricultural conservation easements, these NC Forever Farms will always be protected from development. Learn more about preserving family farms through the Farmland Preservation Division of the North Carolina Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services by visiting ncadfp.org.
This April, join North Carolina Realtors in celebrating Fair Housing Month. Fair housing means everyone deserves a place to call home, regardless of race, color, national origin, religion, sex, or disability. NC Realtors are committed to fair housing for all North Carolinians and ensuring that everyone has access to safe and affordable housing. Let's work together to create communities where everyone can thrive. Visit ncrealtors.org to learn more about fair housing. Paid for by NC Realtors.
The North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services is looking for people age 21 or older to volunteer in long-term care facilities. Community Advisory Committee volunteers help residents and their families advocate for the needs of individuals living in long-term care facilities, such as nursing homes, assisted living facilities, and family care homes. Volunteers must complete orientation and training to become designated and certified representatives of the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program. Visit ncdhhs.gov/aging to find your county's ombudsman.
Every day, people battling addiction suffer in silence. Because of stigma, they fear judgment. They fear being labeled, and too often, they don't get the help they need. But you can help change that. Join the Governor's Institute and be a superhero in the overdose battle campaign. Learn how to break the stigma, support those in need, and save lives. Visit governorsinstitute.org/superhero to get involved. Be a hero, fight stigma, save a life.
The Body Armor State Games are coming to Greensboro this June. Registration is open to athletes of all ages and skill levels in 20 different sports. The Body Armor State Games feature 11,000 athletes and 600 teams. Don't miss out on North Carolina's largest sports festival of the year. Visit bodyarmorstategames.org today. That's bodyarmorstategames.org. The Body Armor State Games are proud to partner with Truist, Lowe's Foods, and Blue Cross and Blue Shield of North Carolina.
Did you know that since you have public power, your electricity is operated and controlled by people in your community, not by a for-profit investor-owned company? These local folks are directly accountable to you. They don't answer to shareholders. They make decisions for the good of your community. What's more, your public power provider invests in your community, providing jobs and supporting your local economy. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
Are you living your best life? Do you know AARP North Carolina is working to make communities great for all ages? Help workers find easier ways to save, improve healthcare quality and access, and to protect important programs like Social Security and Medicare. Learn more about all that AARP is doing to help people of all ages by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
This is Adam Gold.
But whenever you say, well, we're not using this as an excuse, no, you are. Whether it's justifiable or not can be a different discussion, but you are.
It's like the equivalent of saying no offense, but ...
Offense coming.
Yeah, get ready for it.
Look out. Here we come with some offense for you.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. It's her Friday.
I know. It's my Friday. I had to get...
There you go. It's Wednesday.
Exactly.
Hump yay. So you're leaving for Illinois. You're driving to Illinois tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Today.
Yeah.
So do you guys have a target area where you will stop, or is the plan to plow right through?
Yeah, just try to do it as much as we can.
How long a drive is it to Illinois? Are you going to Chicago?
No, it's like the outsides of Chicago, so it's about 13 hours straight shot. Yeah, I know. I know. Trust me.
Are you leaving from here?
I'm really excited. Not from work. I've got to go back home, but yeah, from there. Yep. Oh, yeah. Super excited because I don't spend enough time on the road. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
I know. Family, love ya.
Like, we did this crap in college.
I know. One of my best friends and I wanted to, do the whole country trip. I feel like everybody's had that phase where they want to, tour the country, while you're in your teens, early 20s. You have time and no money.
Right. My gosh. We once made the decision to drive home to the New York area at, midnight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Never a good idea.
No. Also, when I had already graduated, I'd started working in radio, but I was working overnight shifts and whatnot. I had a girlfriend who was living in New York City, and I used to drive up after my shift. I would leave at 3 o'clock in the morning on a Friday.
Yeah.
And show up at her apartment at 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. It's amazing how you don't need sleep when you're
chemistry. Better living through chemistry. Good luck. By the way, they are not a sponsor. Celsius works.
Oh, I have one right here. I have a berry flavored now.
They're very, very
I'm a
good.
big fan of Celsius. I'm new to Celsius.
Are you?
Yes.
Yeah.
I've only had 2 or 3 flavors.
I would like to make an appeal to the Celsius people.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Can I just tell you that yesterday during the show, and I don't know if this was noticeable to you or to anybody else or any of the brass, I apologize. I found myself legitimately a little tired yesterday.
Sure.
And I'm like, did that make any sense what I just said? And I'm sure that there are times where people go, what did he just say?
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew I had a hockey game. We had the Canes and Buffalo last night.
Yep.
And I wanted to be on top of it.
Awake.
For the game.
Yep.
Awesome.
One of those is fantastic. See, they should sponsor the show.
That's why I'm talking to the Celsius people right here. 3:30.
Right. Yes.
Which one? Did a peach vibe. Oh, man. I was vibing until midnight.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Oh, it's great. I love it.
Yes.
I don't love that the Cubs won't be there while I'm there. They're playing their last home game today.
How close are you to this, Chicago? You said you're kind of on the outskirts.
Yeah, it's probably about a 45-minute drive to Chicago. So it's not
basically
terrible.
Chicago.
Yeah, it's not terrible,
okay.
but they're not even going to be there. They're leaving after today.
They'll be scoring all sorts of runs somewhere else.
I know.
By the way, we have day baseball this afternoon. My initial comment from earlier today was the number one reason why it's great to be to live in the United States of America, the best reason, daytime baseball during the week.
It is.
Let's see, Cardinals and Pirates, no runs. They're in the 9th inning. Pirates are batting in the bottom of the 9th. There's no goals.
You know you have to score.
Well, neither team has managed that.
No.
Pirates have just one hit. Marlins lead the Mets in the 8th inning 2-0. It's your Major League Baseball scoreboard brought to you by Celsius.
Exactly.
Yankees and Tigers are scored. What? No runs are being
Goose
scored
eggs
today.
everywhere.
Yankees and Tigers are scoreless in the 7th.
Oh.
Rangers and Cubs.
Yeah,
it's
not
only in
good.
the 2nd inning.
Yeah.
1-0 Texas.
Mm-hmm. Well,
Middle
you know
two.
what? We a.k.a. us, the Cubs. I don't know why I say we, but they got embarrassed.
Well, you're a fan.
I'm a big
You're
fan.
allowed to say we.
Mm-hmm.
If you
That's
are
true.
a fan, you are allowed to say we. I'm
Yep.
sorry.
There for the good and the
So
bad.
I try very hard because I tread. There was a debate on Twitter. We're going to get to a rewind in a second. There was a debate on Twitter, maybe not a debate, just a discussion about media members that act like fans. And we see this we see it honestly in golf. Some of us have unique positions. I admit I am a Carolina Hurricanes fan.
Same, yeah.
So, but I try as best I can to be objective about what I'm watching. I will admit at times the emotions of a loss does impact the way I view the game.
It's not fun.
Right? Yeah. I ran into somebody today as I was picking up coffee and breakfast outside of the station and outside of my home, who walked up to me and said, "This is a funny question, but are you," Adam Gold, whole thing. "I love the podcast." She goes, "I don't watch it. live, I listened to it the next day. I just listened to it. And thank me for being like, I know you are telling me the truth.
Yeah.
That you are not a homer, even though you want the team to do well. And that is what I'm going for.
Mm-hmm.
What I want is for people to believe that what I'm saying is, like, I'm not looking at it through, I'm not a homer.
Yeah.
I abhor homerism in broadcast unless you are over the top homer. Like
True.
Harry Carey.
Yes.
I watched Harry Carey, as a, young kid growing up, even, in college, we'd have, Cub games on. Harry Carey was an unabashed homer. Steve Stone, however, the color analyst, when I was watching Cubs games, was not.
Yeah.
Stone was super straight down the middle.
Yeah.
Which balanced out Harry Carey.
It did.
And broadcasts that don't apologize for everything the team does, those broadcasts are my favorite. I know I just got a text from Tripp. I haven't read it yet, but it's one of the things I respect so much about Tripp.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be able to walk that fine line between being critical, right, and understanding who you work for.
True.
So while he's not going to come out and say, well, he sucked tonight.
Yeah.
Right? He came on this show, and we talked about Jacob Slavin being just ordinary the last couple of games. Andrei Svechnikov not being good enough. You have to build credibility with your listeners, your viewers, so they believe what you say is the truth, even if you do work for the team. I worked with John Miller, longtime Orioles broadcaster back in the day. I don't know where this became a dissertation about broadcasting and members of the media, but whatever. And Miller was fired by the Orioles. Technically, that's not correct because his contract was up. But it's a firing when the best baseball play-by-play guy in the sport who works for a local team and is so popular among the fans is allowed to walk out the door and the owner says, I wanted you to be more of an advocate for the team. And the problem is that Peter Angelos didn't want him to be an advocate for the team. He wanted him to wave pom-poms for the team.
Mm-hmm.
And Miller's thought was, I need to be credible.
Sure. Yeah.
And if I'm just a homer, then basically I'm Jack Edwards, who was the biggest clown in broadcasting.
Mm-hmm. No one wants that.
And I can't deal with that. You have to be able to be believable. And so we try to do that on the podcast, by the way. I have no idea what I was talking about, but that's fine. Let's get into a rewind. Brings me back to yesterday and how I lost my train of thought.
I know, but Celsius for the rescue.
We need a cooler of those.
Yes.
I will drink 2 of them before every show. And
then you'll be wide awake.
We'll get 2 shows in for the price of 1.
There you go.
Why doesn't gold slow down?
Oh, it's fantastic.
Please. I tried to slow myself down last night during the podcast.
Right.
I'm not sure I did.
Yeah.
I'm really not sure.
Why do I feel colors?
I was feeling, the kaleidoscope, right?
Yeah.
I was feeling that at about 7 last night. All right, Gary Williams, 5 Clubs Golf. You can actually watch their show, or his show, I guess, on Golf Channel in the mornings now. And we talked about the game of Scottie Scheffler, the defending champion, and is he still the man to beat?
Yeah, he's still the favorite in my eyes. He's as you pointed out, he's looking to do this 3 out of 4 years. Jack Nicklaus is the only player in Masters history, 63, 65, 66, to win 3 out of 4 years. He has not only the institutional knowledge, He has a toolkit that is more complete than anybody else, starting with his mind. And yes, you're right. He has not won yet this year. But let me just add just a little bit of context to that. If you look at his historic year last year, his sixth start was his first win of the year in 2024. That was the Arnold Palmer Invitational. Then he obviously won the next week at the Players. Yeah. So he came here like a runaway freight train. So Houston was his sixth start. Because of the injury, he was deprived a couple of starts. So no, he has not won, but in terms of the number of starts, and he's got a second, he's got a third. Adam, the one area I would say is not firing at all cylinders to where we're accustomed to him being better than everybody else is his iron play. It's been not bad. It's been very, very good, but it just has not been, historically great statistically. Like we have to harken back to Tiger at his absolute apex to look at iron play over the course of a season, which is what he's done, not just in 24, but 23 and 22. I will say this, his putting numbers this year, which were deficient last year, and he won 7 times and had the gold medal.
Right.
His putting numbers are better. So, again, you can look at it a couple different ways. I still make him the favorite, and I make him the favorite comfortably. And one other little additional addendum as to why. You just made the point about Rory sucking up all the oxygen in the pre-tournament conversation. The two-time champion and defender is kind of under the radar in this peculiar way that's very dangerous for the field.
Yeah, I mean, Rory is – remember I talked about how media members sometimes become fanboys. And I think there are a fair amount of people who are absolutely outright rooting for Rory. I admit that I am rooting for Rory McIlroy. But I will say this right now. He has no chance to win. Just play that on a loop.
Right. It's the opposite of buying a win. Or maybe it's like buying a win.
No chance to win. I'm not even sure Rory can make the cut. He'll be lucky to survive round 1.
Yeah.
They might send him home.
He'll be the one serving food.
Please. Yeah, but Rory is like the story. They open up every live from with what's up with Rory, or this is why Rory will win, or this is why Rory won't win. And Scottie Scheffler, the 2-time champion and the defending champ, is kind of under the radar. I already told you who's going to win. I think it will be Bryson DeChambeau. If it's not Rory, it's probably going to be Rory.
From the heels,
touchdown Carolina,
to the canes,
she scores!
He covers it all. The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't